Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we are trying some of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cards in Pauper. We're going to be starting with White Weenie. This is probably the card that I'm most excited for, slash think that is going to have the most impact on the format. Of course, there's probably going to be a couple other cards that show up in the format as well, but the big one that I think is going to be pretty good is Leonardo Big Brother in White Weenie. So that's what we're trying out now. Of course, if you don't know, I just wrote a comprehensive White Weenie guide for the deck list that I think was the best, or at least the one that I had the most experience and success with in the format. And then, of course, immediately there was a card printed that looks to be pretty good in the deck. So, assuming it pans out to be as good as people anticipate, I'll certainly be updating the deck list and my guide accordingly. But we're going to be trying this out. So, 1/3 for 3 mana, which has Sneak. Sneak is basically a new ninjutsu ability. So you return an unblocked attacker to your hand and pay the cost to cast Leonardo for that cost. It is a cast, which means he can actually be counterspelled, unlike actual ninjutsu, which is very relevant against your blue decks. But it still enters the battlefield tapped and attacking, so if they are tapped out, it can just sneak past their defenses. Also, it's legendary, which means it doesn't die to cast down, which is very notable. But it's also 3 toughness, so it still dies to lightning bolt, scred, a million other removal spells. So it's not impervious by any means. But it's 1/3, and it gets plus and plus for each other creature you control. So if you swap this out for one creature and you have 5 other creatures on the battlefield, suddenly you're hitting 4/6 damage with this one guy. And obviously, returning a creature to your hand can be a benefit because we're playing a bunch of ETBs with Thraben Inspectors, Novice Inspectors, and the like. So that's the main thing we're trying out. Because we're trying this out, I actually swapped quite a few cards from my standard list because I'm kind of a Militia Bugler hater. I will say, I've said that many times before. I feel like it's just a little bit too clunky, a little too slow. But Leonardo looks to be pretty good, and Bugler's the way to make it so that you can get Leonardo a little bit more reliably. So we're going to play 4 Buglers in here. And then if we're playing Buglers, I wanted to change the list a little bit based on that. We're not playing Chocos anymore because both of those pump the team. I really like Summon Chocomog, but it pumps the team in a similar way that Leonardo kind of does, damage for every creature you control. And Bugler can't grab it. We're also trying a Palace Sentinels in the main deck as opposed to just the sideboard because, in the right matchup or just right situation, Bugler being able to grab it can be really effective. Because of that, playing the Sentinels, we're also playing 4 Prismatic Strands, and also because of Bugler, I just want to make sure we have as many hits as possible, so we've upped our creature count by a couple, playing a total of 28 creatures. So, yeah, there's quite a few changes. Obviously, still isn't that different from your from some White Weenie lists people play, but a little different from my stock list. We still, of course, have Lunar Veteran. I couldn't bring myself to get rid of the Steadfast Unicorn. I still really like that. Skyfishers, Rafine's Informant, 4 Battle Screech, and then 4 Thraben Charm. I've cut down on the Journey to Nowheres in the main deck to try out these other cards, and I put them in the sideboard because I still think that can be pretty helpful in the right matchup. So, without further ado, let's jump into a league and see how we do. The league will begin when 10 players have joined. Am I one of the very first people to join the league here? Hopefully we'll have some opponents. Hi, are you going to test a new affinity as well? I will certainly be trying out some new affinity at some point. Ideally, Ultra Monitor is not going to be as outrageously expensive as it is currently, because it's currently selling for 24 tickets. And that's kind of ridiculous. So it might be a few days until I try that out. But I'll definitely be... it's been 42 minutes since the set went up. I figured people would be playing in here. It took me a while. I was going to go live about half an hour ago. But I was having trouble finding anybody who had the Leonardo that I needed, which is why I have 2 different printings of it. But I guess we'll just wait around until I can actually join a match. I've not seen this before. But yeah, I think the new monitor seems decent. It's kind of a cross between your Mirror Enforcer and your Refurbished Familiar. Decent attacker, flyer, but no value beyond it just being a really cheap attacker. Flying's really good. I'll certainly probably try it in Esper, swapping out the Mirror Enforcers so we have an entirely flying creature base, which I think will be interesting. But 1 mana versus 0 mana is a real cost, so is it going to be as good? I'm not sure. I guess in the meantime we'll just chat, hang out. Will you be posting this on YouTube? I'm at work and probably won't be able to say yes. Every single time I stream, the videos get posted to YouTube within a week or 2 at the very latest, but usually within just a few days. A video went up today, actually, from my stream last week playing Mono Black Burn, which was a really fun stream. So, yes, every time I'm streaming, you'll be able to catch it later on YouTube if you can't stick around the whole time. Excited to see more Esper Affinity on the channel when you do start testing it again. I love that deck. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I've been a little bogged down in testing White Weenie because I was making the Pauper guide for that, the comprehensive guide. So I was testing a lot of that, and then just making sure Black Sack is updated. I'm working on an update for that as well. And I've had some local tournaments that I've been going to, which is why I've been playing a lot of Black Sack to make sure that it's in a good state for those. But I will be returning to Esper Affinity at some point, and certainly with the new card. I'll be trying some new stuff out. I'm excited too. It's still a great deck. It's a fun deck for sure. The meta has been a little hostile towards it, so I'm potentially going to need to rethink it a little bit. It might need a bit of an overhaul, which is part of why it's taken me a little while, is that it's a lot of work to make that happen. But I'm very excited to get back to it at some point. Very excited for that card in this deck. Yes, I think it's going to be good. I do think there's the potential for it to be... Some people have talked about it being just a win more card. I don't think that's quite true, but I do think there's the potential for it. One reason that I don't care for... I've tried out Salt Road Pack Beast and don't end up liking it is because it's usually you're already really ahead if you're casting it for 1 mana, and if you're casting it for like 3 to 4, it's just okay. It's not the best. For a long time, I started seeing Elves players play Salt Road Pack Beast, and I was like, why would they be playing it when we can't? And then I realized, well, if an Elves player gets their board wiped, or rather, if a White Weenie player gets their board wiped, then Salt Road Pack Beast costs 6 mana and is really bad. Whereas an Elves player gets their board wiped and they concede, so it doesn't really matter if it's 6 mana or not, you know? So that's not always true, but that's kind of why I think it's not as much my favorite. But Leonardo is 1 or 3 mana as opposed to, potentially 6. I think it's probably going to be pretty good, and there's got to be something going on, right? Nobody is here playing Pauper, the best format in the world. Mildly annoyed that they keep printing playable legends at common. I hate that I can't always rely on cast down anymore. Yes, I understand. I do think it's a bit of a flavor fail for sure. Common legendary is kind of an oxymoron. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I'm going to save most of them because I'm actually working on a video talking about that exactly. So it'll probably be out within a couple of weeks. I'm trying to spend a little more time on it. But yeah, it's Cast Down has been the first printing of a card that we've gotten. Obviously, it's been around for about 5 years now, 5 or 6. It's been the first one that's just basically unconditional removal spell, though, because before that we had to deal with Doomblade and Go for the Throw was printed after, but yeah, Cast Down not hitting everything is definitely going to be a pain. This is the first time that I've tried to stream immediately after a set has gone live, and I was going to start at about 1, but I had to find the cards, and of course everybody else is looking for the cards in the sellers, so it's hard to get them all. And apparently you have to wait for everybody to actually start playing, so we're getting there. Just hit you with that Prime sub. Oh yeah, I did miss that. Jeffrey Vegas subscribed with Prime. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. You now have a little hedron next to your name. I hope it serves you well. I appreciate that, and appreciate everyone just hanging out here while we wait on these 3 last players so we can jump into a league. But yeah, I've had a few shorts go up on the channel in the last few days regarding the different cards that I think are viable from the new set. I think there's one more going up tomorrow, because there are about 5 cards that I think are going to be playable. I guess 5-ish, but I grouped all the food together. And then, of course, Leonardo, Raphael, and Oroku Saki, I think all have some potential. So we're going to be trying out all of that. Love the Black Sack videos. Basically copy your deck. Do you have a specific version you would consider the strongest? Yes, my stock list, which I can drop in here, is the version that I play at my locals. It's the version that I play the most on the channel, and the one that I think is generally the best. Obviously, it depends a little bit on your local meta, but this is the list that I like. I'm not a fan of Perigi Beckoner personally, and I don't usually play Bone Picker, so if you like those cards or anything, then you might have to modify the list slightly. But this one is all carrion feeders, beetles, and vampires, as well as some sadistic glees as your win cons. And then a whole bunch of fodder. I like some removal in the main deck, some card draw. I do a four card draw spells, all the Village Rites, no Corrupted Convictions. Some people like 8, some people like 0. I like right in between. If you check out all of my previous Black Sack videos, there are dozens that will explain all of my rationale for everything. And of course, if you have my guide, then there's a lot of talking about that there. Looks like we might be able to actually get a match going here, though. So let's try to make that happen. Thanks to Card Market for sponsoring this video. I've written a comprehensive guide on how to play White Weenie in Pauper, including my ideal stock list, over 30 sideboard matchups, and a sideboard cheat sheet, which gives you a very easy snapshot view and what to sideboard for every single matchup. I also have guides for Black Sack and Esper Affinity. Each guide is only $15, and if you buy one, you will get all future updates that I ever make to that guide for free. I also offer coaching, so if you're interested in upping your Pauper game for any of the decks that I'm very proficient in, or if you're interested in having me play your deck in a future video, you can do a deck donation, which is the only way you'll ever see me playing Cycle Storm or Flickertron. This hand looks great. Not only do we get to potentially show off Leonardo, but we just have a really good curve of turn 1 Inspector, turn 2 we can maybe Skyfisher, we could Informant depending on what we want to do. We might want to Informant so that I can Leonardo the Inspector the following turn. Obviously, I could Leonardo right away, but he gets better later. We don't necessarily want to. I could do that and then pick up the Inspector, replay it. It's not terrible, although if he's the only creature on the field, he's just a 1/3. So I don't think that's what we're doing. I think we're probably saving him for a couple turns. If I do play Informant, I don't have anything I want to discard, though, so that's also notable. So I could just Skyfisher here, and then next turn replay Inspector and Informant, but they're on something blue. I kind of want to be aggressive. So I think we will probably play Informant. And I think we can get rid of a Skyfisher here. It's not amazing. I mean, Skyfisher's phenomenal, but I think we have enough other stuff to do. I had Beckoner in my Black Sack list for a while, and after taking it out my first tourney, I think you were correct in not having it. Should have listened to the wise one. Hey, I mean, everyone has their own preferences and things. There's nothing wrong with that. The only time I got annoyed by people talking about Perigee Beckoner is when they say it's the only way to play the deck, or there were some people when it first was printed was like, oh, this Black Sack wasn't a deck before this was printed, and all of that's just not true. But yeah, if you like it, that's totally fine. Okay, so, I can play Steadfast Unicorn, attack, sneak in Leonardo. We get in for 6, and then I get to replay the Inspector. I think that seems pretty good. Of course, Leonardo's going to be incredible when we have, 10 creatures on board, but here also just seems pretty reasonable. Hit for 6, replay our Inspector. Now it's a 4/3. Next turn it could be like a 5/3. They have Preordain and Ponder. Usually mono blue doesn't play both of these unless it's like a High Tide, which I'm not expecting really. So it's probably like Dimir Terror or something, but I'm not sure. I really think Raphael Tough Turtle might be a breakout card in the next few weeks. He looks really good with a Chrysalis Brew. I agree. I think Raphael has some real potential. Look at that. A turn 3 win. I mean, they were just playing too many cantrips and didn't have much going on, but that's really good. I don't exactly know what we're playing against, so they did save themselves. Like, it's probably Terror. Preordain and Ponder, though, almost makes me think it's like Tireless Tribe or Familiars. Familiars doesn't really play that, though. Yeah, Raphael, I think, could be great in Chrysalis Brew, like a Gruul token, something like that. I also think it might have some potential in just like Red Rally. That's a list that I'm probably going to try out, is playing it in Rally. I only run 2. It comes to my problem, the intrigue of the combo is too much for some people. Yeah, I think a lot of the legends you're only going to want a couple of in the deck. I was almost going to put 3. I think a lot of them I'm probably going to try 3 out just to make sure we actually see it. But this one I felt comfortable just doing 2 because we have the Buglers to find it. They're blue something, so like Palace Sentinels is probably not terrible. They could be fairies. I'm really not sure. I don't think there's anything that's a shoe-in to bring in with just seeing some cantrips. So I'm just going to resubmit and hope for the best here. All right, we have a 1-lander. It's not bad because if we get a second, we're on the draw. If we get a second land, we have Informant to pitch like a Battle Screech, and then we can do stuff with that. We just have playables for a couple turns. Opponent does mulligan. We also have a Thraben Charm, and they're probably some sort of graveyard deck with Terror or something. We play 20 lands. We're going to try it. We have 2 1-drops. We're on the draw. We probably will have time to miss a land drop or 2 based on what they did before. Interesting. I was not expecting Mistfall Bridge based off of their islands and all their cantrips. So that is Interesting. Black Mage's Rod. Oh, okay. It could be like Dimir Affinity. It just did not look like that, obviously. I mean, the cantrips are cool with the Black Mage's Rod because you can just ping a bunch. It's not terrible. Here's where we really need to hit a land drop. And if we don't, we're going to be in some trouble. This Transmute Dizzy spell. Okay. Okay. So I don't specifically know the combo, but I'm pretty sure this is like new Whale Helix combo with Surveillance Cam. Ben Fraley subscribed with Prime for 6 months. I appreciate that, Ben. I didn't even realize I'd been streaming for 6 months, but you've been here since the beginning, and I appreciate you. We do hit the land. That's really good. You think you were the first? I think you were. That is what I recall as well. Okay, so I'm going to need to hold up a Thraben Charm at some point. I don't think we need to do it now, even if they do have a whale. I don't really know the combo exactly, but like they should need to tap it, usually with the Helix combo. So I think we're just playing Informant and Battle Screech. And then, you know, I can hold up Thraben Charm next turn if I want, now that I have some pressure. Have some options. Wind Zendikon. I did also think that was a possibility when I saw the bridge. It could just be a weird brew. It doesn't have to be the combo. Wind Zendikon obviously makes an indestructible creature here. They do have Retraction Helix, though, so it does look like combo. This is just going to bounce a non-land permanent, unless this is the combo. This enters... Should target non-land permanent. So this enters, untaps this. This taps to return this. Wait, enters or leaves. So untap it, tap to return it, it untaps to play a blue, and then we die to the Black Mage's Rod. Oh, okay. Interesting. So I think we're dead, because this goes infinite. Huh. Okay. Didn't need a whale or anything. Just needed that. Well, I guess we should have killed the... what's it called? The creature there. Okay, so we get Dust to Dust. That's good to know. Journey to Nowhere. I assume Retraction Helix is... cool idea. I was thinking of something similar in Boros with some of the new cards. Yeah, I do think that you could definitely do something in Boros with this as well. Almost could build this deck just missing Prismatic Strands and Leos. Yeah, nice. I'm just gonna... Target creature gains. So Standard Bearer would stop that if I want to do that. Probably don't need a Sentinels. I mean, life gain is irrelevant when they're going infinite. Also Strands, they're blue-black, and their combo deals colorless damage, so Strands doesn't seem super good either. Which actually means Journeys can come in. Alright, I wasn't necessarily planning on boarding this many in, but first of all, brand new deck. Who knows exactly what I need to bring in. Well, now that I know that what they're doing, combo and stuff, I definitely don't want to be missing land drops. Prismatic out, yes, definitely. Alright, this one's not amazing, but we have 2 drops. Probably don't need this Bugler. I have a Journey for their first creature. Bugler just could get stuck. Is Leo named differently in MTGO? No, just the Spider-Man cards thus far. I don't know if that's going to also go ahead with Marvel in general later, but no, this one, these ones all have their correct names and everything. Well, obviously we're just learning that combo. I knew people had been talking about some sort of surveillance combo, and I probably should have read up on what it was specifically, but that's okay. Now we know. Fiend's Informant. I want the extra power, but I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of a Plains here. It's also not the worst, because this might be one I pick up with Leonardo or even Skyfisher, in which case the counter would be gone anyway. WotC doesn't have digital licenses for Marvel characters. Yeah, that was basically what I picked up from the Spider-Man stuff happening, so I assume it'll happen for Marvel too, but I just, you know, there's time for them to potentially license those, I don't know. Wind Zendikon, there it is. Alright. When Enchanted Land dies, return that card to its owner's hand. Luckily, Journey doesn't kill it, so I think we just Stone Rain them here. And I guess I just Leo. It actually makes me lose damage, but it gets him out and gives me this guy back for later. I was kind of looking forward to completely awful TMNT names in MTGO. Mikey, whose pizza is eaten. Yeah, that would be really funny. Guidelight Optimizer. Oh, this is not a new card, just one I've never seen before. 2/1, spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate an ability. Okay, well, luckily I just made this, well, the second one's pretty bad, but I just made this a 1/3 so it actually can attack past this. The good news here, oh, actually, I probably just want a Skyfisher. I just want to hit for pressure, right? So I want to Skyfisher, pick up a land, then I get to Inform it and get rid of the other Leonardo, getting a counter, and I'm doing this all pre-combat because that grows our Leonardo on the field. Yeah, so now they don't have too much time to dirtle. I also have another Journey, so if they try to play a Black Mage's Rod or another Wind Zendikon, I can still take that. There's a Mistfall Bridge. Okay, so I'm realizing I'm still fully like thinking through the ramifications of the combo. So I'm realizing they have to have it be on a land because it needs to be able to tap for mana and tap for the combo, which means they could do the whole combo next turn, and I couldn't stop them with a sorcery speed spell here. This helps with their mana, so I kind of want to play Militia Bugler. There's a possibility I just die, but I don't think journeying this probably changes that much. So let's just do this. Again, pre-combat for more damage. What do we find here? Rafine's Informant, Novice Inspector, Unicorn. I think we just take the Unicorn because I can play it, and then I can pump so that we pretty much definitively have lethal next turn. I guess they could trade here or chump, but they're just taking it. That's either a bad sign because that means that they have the combo, or maybe it's just that they might as well take it. Yeah, because if they're going to lose that card, they might lose. So, all right, we get match 1 against someone else also trying out new cards. Lots of robots in TMNT. Yeah, it makes me sad because I've been wanting to make Clowning Around work for a while, but it's not on M2GO because it's an uncard, I guess, technically, but it's not really. I don't know why. It's a real pain because that could be a fun card, and it cares about robots, and so it's... I didn't know that. Yeah, exactly. So, for whatever reason, it's not on MTGO, so you can't play it here, but you can play it in person, and it cares about robots, so then there's also a new, like, 2-mana 1/1 that makes another 1/1 that makes both robots, and that's another cool one that could make that deck better. But I saw a deck win some league on YouTube with Clowning. Yeah, that's cool. Land Grant, so we're against Spy. They're not trying out any silly new cards, I would bet. And Wildling. We have a Thraben Charm, but they also just have the Fiend. I think we're going to play an Informant and probably get rid of the Battle Screech so that they can't take it and I can play it next turn if I want to. Swing for 1. We do have some pretty decent pressure. I don't know if we're going to be fast enough, but we might. They play a Battlement. I kind of probably should kill that, especially because they have a Ranger. I guess they have no other walls in hand. Still just taps for 2 with the Ranger, though. Oh, they do have a wall. They have Caretaker, yeah. All the more reason to get rid of it, which means I have to play Inspector, and if I want to flashback Battle Screech, I lose 4 damage. The reason I'm doing this is because, like, this is not going to be a way to exile their graveyard anyway because of their Fiend, so I might as well use it as a removal spell. Alternatively, though, I could just play Rafine's Informant, get rid of Battle Screech, play an Inspector, and I could flashback 2 Battle Screeches. I mean, that's got to be better, right? I think we're going to do that then. It's just too much pressure to put up this turn. Another Battle Screech. Too much pressure to put up that I don't think we can pass it. Our life gain also probably isn't going to be relevant, but theoretically, if we get high enough, we could survive one giant. Yeah, we did cut most of our board pump spells, but we do have Leonardo, so ideally, we could get one of those now and just deal a ton of damage. I just tested Clowning Around in paper together with the new robot guy. Clowning Around is certainly good, but it's questionable whether or not it's worth playing the other one to enable it. Magitech Infantry from FFA is also a robot. There are lots of different builds possible. Yeah, no, I mean, even if Clowning Around was like reliably 3/1/1s for 2 mana, it's not the best thing ever. It's probably not like a deck or good enough to build around for like a whole deck if you're trying to be like a tier 1 deck, you know, obviously. But I think it's like a decent idea that can get you some good value in the right, maybe Boros tokens deck that can, you know, can be all right at your local meta or whatever. Charm on the Wall. Yeah, like I said, I heavily considered the Charm on the Wall, and it could have been right, but I feel like with all these birds, it's pretty good to do it this way. They have 5 mana. They could lead the Stampede. They might just be thinking about like a 4/5 Hydra. They're going to Roost Seek and then Spy. Ah, well, I guess they're just going for it. With 1 land, I assume, still in their deck. They hit down to 18 cards, which is 23 creatures in their yard. Not quite enough, even if they sack 2. Because of our life gain, they do have a Dread Return and a Giant. It's not lethal, though. Also, this is not actually their graveyard. That's their revealed, so I should do this. This is their graveyard. And if they pass, then we'll have Thraben Charm up. If they Dread Return for a Giant, they lose 1, but they go up by 3. They get to 25 damage, but we're at 2, and we could probably survive. I mean, this is probably like best case scenario for us. Obviously, if they just whiffed and hit like 2 cards, that would have been good too. But by just barely not getting us, they use up a whole bunch of their resources. Like, we should probably count. Well, they did perfectly hit 1 Dread Return, 1 Lotleth Giant, which means there's probably 1 more of each. Oh, but they also hit Spy, Spy. Oh yeah, and they're 1 creature short of reanimating a Spy and then going for it again. Well, we're certainly going to hold up Thraben Charm now. And so I just play Inspector, hold up Charm. I mean, is there any reason I shouldn't hold up Charm and I should just do it now? Because if they cast Mesmeric Fiend from their hand or they go for a Dread Return, I can respond to it. So I don't think so. So we'll play Inspector. No reason not to hold up. Yeah, I don't think so either. We get in with Informants. I can attack with the birds. We lose a bird. I think it's GG either way. Yeah, I think so. Probably. I mean, yeah, because this is 23 creatures. They can't have enough to kill us, even if they have another Spy in hand, which we know. I hate how this works, but we do know most of the cards in their hand. Question is, we know there's also a forest. These in a forest. Question is, do I want to attack with the birds? Because we're getting in for maybe 6. I think we'll just do this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Thraben Charm is just going to win us the game, but Spy should still be banned, the hill to die on. I mean, as I've said previously, I'm not attached to Spy, so I wouldn't hate to see it go. But I do think if it was going to get banned, it would have been a little while ago, because it's not at its peak anymore. We will exile their graveyard. It's not at its peak anymore, but it's still around, but it's just like, you know, it was like 8% of the meta for a while, and now it's like probably back down to 2 or 3. So if it were to get banned, I think it should have already happened. I think we're probably past that now. Like, theoretically, they could lead the Stampede. They could find a bunch of Generous Sense and, like, maybe get there on, like, the mid-range plan, but that doesn't seem super likely either. Nyxborn is interesting in Spy. Yeah, I agree. There's the end. It is definitely so that they can go for that mid-range backup plan. A Leo would be pretty good. It'd be like a 9-3. Thraben Charm is pretty good. I probably don't need that for a graveyard anymore, so if I just kill Generous Ent, swing with everything, how much power do we have? 13? They have a couple blockers, so they're pretty close to dead, but not quite. Spy player played poorly. He could have killed you since he had 1 giant in the graveyard plus the Dread, and as a bonus, 25 creatures in the yard and 3 on the field. They had 23 creatures in their yard with 1 giant. If they reanimate the giant, they lose 1, so they go to 22, and they Dread returned 3 creatures, so they're to 25, and we were at 27. So I'm pretty sure they're too short, because they did not have 25 creatures in their yard. I think we just kill this Ent, can attack. 28 damage, but you're misrepresenting. There were not 25 creatures in the graveyard. There were only 23, so your math is a little off. Alright, we'll see what they can do here. I could have left some creatures back, but I can't imagine they can deal us 28 damage here. Do the 3 sacked creatures count? They do. So they had 23 in the yard. They reanimate they reanimate the giant, so they go to 22. But they've sacrificed 3 creatures, going up to 25 creatures in the yard, but we were at 27 life. So they would have needed like 2 Generous Ents or 2 Cyclers in hand to be able to put in the graveyard or something like that. If they didn't have any other way to put creatures in the graveyard, though, they were too short. Alright, they did get to 7 here because of reanimating the Generous Ent. They have 4 blockers if they really need. 1, 2, 3, 4, so they can just take 4 damage. So they're not dead. I mean, they're holding on. If I attack with everything, I could lose this. They block here. I lose a bird. So I lose an Informant and a bird, but I could get in for 4 or 5 damage, or they'd lose a Quirion Ranger. Plus, I have to bounce a forest, which is not irrelevant. We'll crack a clue, because if I draw a Leo, it doesn't matter, and I can just win. And if not, we'll just swing. Alright, they go to 1 here, and we'll just pass with the clue up. They lead the Stampede. They find Spy, Giant, Vandal. I mean, they need 3 flying blockers or a way to gain life to not die. So they could play like Spy, Hydra, but that's not enough. I don't know. Maybe they can survive another turn, but I'm not really seeing it, so I'm not sure what their goal is here. I mean, they can Spy and like combo, except they actually just drew the Lotleth Giant, so that's not going to work. But even then, like, they only have 12 cards in their library. Even if every single one's a creature, that's only dealing 13 damage, maybe 15 with the Dread Return. So they need to do that twice, which they're not going to be able to. So were you able to cast Leo already? I did cast him a couple times in previous games, previous match. Yes. Haven't seen him this game, but ideally we'll be going on to the next game pretty soon. Yeah, we've cast him twice, I think. He's been pretty good so far. Although we've gone up against combo decks both times, so we haven't really seen the mid-range or removal deck yet to see how he fares there. How many copies? We're playing 2, but I also have 4 Militia Buglers, which can help find him. So I thought that kind of made sense. So real quick, here's the deck list. So yeah, 2 Leos, 4 Buglers. All right, against Spy. Journey's not amazing because they have, what's it called? Vandals, assuming they keep them in. But Strands is probably a dud because they'll probably bring in like a one of whatever the pain is. What's it called? I can't remember. You know the one that prevents damage from being prevented. Frailing Pain? That's not quite right. If we go long, like Palace Sentinels is okay. I guess the veterans actually were Flaring Pain. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. Veteran was actually super relevant there, which is cool. Usually it's not a bad one to cut, but like maybe we just cut these. Flaring Pain, yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably our best bet. Yeah, so they bring in 1 Flaring Pain and then all 4 of our Prismatic Strands are useless, which just feels bad. It sounds pretty good, pretty aggressive. We get to go Veteran into Informant Flashback Battle Screech. We have no interaction, which is not great, and could definitely lose us the game, but we also have a couple Informants to help draw it, so I think this is one of the better hands to try to find interaction, unless we're just going to straight mulligan to interaction, which there are matches where I would do that, and this might be one where I should do it a little bit more, but a fast clock is also just pretty important, so. And there we go, we find the Charm right away. We'll swing for 1. I'm sure it'll get blocked, but there's no downside. And we'll play an Informant. Definitely want to counter so that it gets past the Caretaker. And yeah, I think we just want to do the Battle Screech anyway. Bugler's decent. They go for a Winding Way. Hits 2 land grants, but they do hit a Wildling and a Battlement, which are pretty decent. If they combo, definitely look if they actually have Pain post board. Yeah, that is smart. Good call. Alright, well, we're playing this Plains because Grange is not online yet. So I could do Informant, which is more aggressive, and then Unicorn, which doesn't get through. Or I could go Bugler. I guess the cool thing is I can play Bugler next turn to try to find Leo, and I can still use Leo right away. So I think we'd probably go Informant. Also, Informant plus Unicorn lets me attack for 3 and still Flashback Battle Screech, which is probably what we want to do. Do I want Unicorn or Inspector? Probably Unicorn. Yeah, I think so. So we'll attack for 3. Play Unicorn. Gain a life. Flashback Battle Screech. And gain some more life. They do get to go Wildling into Battlement. Roostseek, rather. Into Battlement. But they're a little behind here. Have you considered Search Party Captain as a blink target to hand in this deck? Yeah, like returning it to hand. Yeah, it's not terrible. The problem is you want all your cards to be independently good, even if you draw them like once your board has been wiped. And so then Search Party Captain's really bad as a 4-mana 2/2. Similar to why I don't care for Salt Road Pack Beast. It's just not good as a 6-mana 4/3, or even a 4-mana 4/3 draw card is not amazing. But you know, obviously the drawing a card is really good. So it's high upside, but it's also really high downside. Or another way of saying that's the ceiling is really high on the card, but the floor is really low, which is that at worst it's a 4-mana 2/2. And you generally want your cards to kind of be in this in-between where it's like everything's pretty decent. Isn't Salt Road Pack Beast better? Salt Road Pack Beast is even higher ceiling because you get a 4/3, but it's also even lower floor because it could be 6 mana. So like, yes, it's better when it is good, but it's also worse when it's worse. But I would say Salt Road Pack Beast would be my preferred. Sorry, let me do some math. So we have 6 damage. So like if I just play Idyllic Range on a bird and pump up the team with the Unicorn, I can get in for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and they block. So that's not lethal, which means I probably don't want to do it. The Thraben Charm is kind of awkward here because I can't play a Bugler, or I can't do anything if I want to hold up the Charm. But obviously they could just Spy combo me if I don't hold up the Charm, so I probably should. Although they could also have a Fiend plus Spy. I kind of want to just kill the Battlement here. We attack, they block, they take 9. And with the Battlement dead, it's pretty unlikely they can Spy us. They would need to have land in hand, like Quirion Ranger and Spy. We'll put this here regardless. So I kind of just want to Thraben Charm their Battlement. It's like if they Spy us, we're going to lose, but it makes it so it's really hard for them to Spy this turn, and then next turn I pump my team. I think this is the best bet. It might be short-sighted or something, I don't know exactly, because we're using the way that to stop us from fully dying just to get rid of one creature, but I feel like it puts us in a position to almost assuredly kill them next turn with our unicorn, and it seems really difficult for them to kill us here. My alternative was I could have held it up, or I could have played Bugler, and if we found Leo, he might have been lethal. Probably not, though. 7, but it would have swapped out 1. No, it would have been just short of lethal, so that wouldn't have been the play either. But they have to naturally have their one last card out of 44, or they have to have like Lotus Petal or some other stuff, which we didn't see any Lotus Petals in their yard last game, although obviously we only saw half to 2/3 of their deck. But what do you think about the White Weenie version with Squadron Hawk? I think it combos really nicely with Martyr of Sands in your sideboard. All right, we win the match. Martyr of Sands, where you reveal X cards from your hand and you gain 3 times that much life. Squadron Hawk works great with that because you put 3 extra white cards in your hand, even in the late game. So if you're concerned that your meta is like, 40% mono red madness or something, I could see the Hawk being better. But that's the only place where I like it, because I just think that we need to be getting more value, more power from 2 mana. Like Core Skyfisher, 2/3 flyer for 2 with obviously a little bit of value, or Rafine's Informant could be a 3/2. I don't like paying 2 mana to play a 1/1, Even with flying, which is good, I feel like we already have some other good flyers in Battle Screech and Core Skyfisher, or the creatures that we have on the ground are just so much more value. Like, yeah, you could think of it as like the first Squadron Hawk's incredible because it draws you 3 cards, but what are those 3 cards? They're 2 mana 1/1s, which I'm not a big fan of. So some people do it and have gotten some great results with it. So I'm not saying it's like terrible, and I'm sure there could be versions like, if your local meta is a bunch of mono red madness, maybe fairies where you want every single flyer you can have, or elves is another one where you want to have a lot of flyers. Although elves is also one where you want to go fast, so that's another tough one for that. But if you're in a situation where like the Squadron Hawk specifically feels good, I think it might be okay. But generically, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it just by itself. I think it's just been a little outclassed. I think that was kind of the way to play White Weenie before Novice Inspector came around. But then it's like, well, we can pay 1 less mana, get 1 more toughness. Yeah, we lose flying, but we also just get a card that could be anything, as opposed to like these bad 1/1s. So I think it's a little outdated, but it also just depends on your build, of course. For all I know, with Leonardo, you're going to want more flyers, so maybe it becomes decent then. But also, Hawk is not a great one to bounce, so I don't know for sure. This one's a little slow just because of our tap land, but good value. I don't really anticipate ever mulliganing this hand, especially in the dark. Maybe there's an opponent where I know this is too slow, but like in the dark, it just kind of does what we want. I think we're doing Veteran first because we could be against Burn, in which case I want the life gain. Right now it's looking like I'm playing Inspector next turn anyway, so if I just play the Veteran first, it's just kind of a worse sequencing. Whereas if I get a Plains here, maybe I'll play an Informant or something, but it looks like not. So we'll play 3-bit Inspector, gain a life, play a Grange. What are the chances we're playing against fairies and they have a Brinebearer Intruder? Pretty low, I think. We'll attack. There are definitely situations or decks where I would not do that, but if they have the Brine Barrow, we lose a Veteran, which can come back as a flyer, which is almost even better in this matchup. If I was like White Weenie, I wouldn't, or not White Weenie, I am. If I was playing like Black Sack, I probably wouldn't throw away a creature like that. But here it's, it was probably fine. Also, we're against Terror, which is obviously a lot more prevalent. Brainstorming and then Mental Note 2 islands away. It's pretty good for us though. And they go Delver. So I could Skyfisher back a land, play a Veteran if I want to get more on the board. I could play an Informant, try to find a land, ditching a Veteran. That's not bad. That's probably what we want to do. We have a lot of ways to spend our mana with this Clue and this Bugler. What about Hawk versus, at least in my meta, the tons of Shamans crawling around? Yeah, that's definitely something that I should have mentioned. Yeah, obviously, Krark Clan Shaman is pretty good against us in general. That is definitely a good reason to play some more flyers. I still feel like I'd have to look more, but I feel like you could probably still play a better flyer than Squadron Hawk. But it is to me, it's just a really bad Battle Screech, right? Because it's 4 1/1 flyers, but you have to pay 8 mana for it instead of 4. And we already have Battle Screech and Skyfisher against Shaman. But if you're like, if you're going up against a Grixis or Jund every match or two, every couple of matches, then I think it's not unreasonable to maybe play some Hawks. I think that would be fine. Yeah, I guess my local meta doesn't have tons of those. I think I'm putting this on the bottom because if we don't draw a land next, I really want to draw a land after that. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you not only have a lot of Current Clan Shamans, but also you are realizing in those games, like, I would love to have more creatures that survive this, then yes, definitely a great time to bring in some flyers. I feel like when I do play against Current Clan Shaman, I'm usually pretty happy already with Skyfishers, veterans that come back as flyers, and Battle Screech. Like, I already have enough flyers. But if you're finding, like, no, I would love to have additional flyers here, then yeah, I think Hawk would probably be a reasonable one to do. Alright, so I can play Skyfisher, bounce an Inspector, replay that. We get a clue, some life, we get a blocker for the Aberration, although I just want to be more aggressive. So it's about the same power as putting a Bugler down. Bugler dot, unless they have a Force Spike. Well, if they have a Force Spike, it's a lot worse against the Counterspell, but if they don't have a Force Spike, it's a lot better to get the value now, as opposed to having our 3-drop get countered later. I think I'm just going to do the Bugler. They do have the Force... No, okay, Mental Note. Fair enough. Counterspell, Lorien... Well, obviously, also the fact that this doesn't get past a Terror is worse. Oh. And this is why I hate Bugler. Look, this is the first time we've whiffed, although it's only like the second time we've played it. 2 Battle Screeches and 2 lands. That's exactly what I would have loved to draw in my next 4 draws. And Bugler finds nothing instead. We have just under a 50% chance. Our deck is 28 creatures, so just under 50% creature count. But every single one of those cards we flip up, well, this is unfortunate. I could have, I guess, just taken away their graveyard. That might have been better. My point is, Militia Bugler should hit so often, and it just did not. Well, I could play a Skyfisher, bounce a land, Thraben Charm a Serpent. And we have Skyfisher, Veteran on a Terror. That's not bad. I could just Bugler, but then we have an extra Serpent. I think we gotta kill a Serpent here. We're gonna take way too much damage too quickly. That's obviously gotta be the one that we can target. A Thought Scour, hit another Serpent and an island. Swing. I'm going to lose 2 creatures to this Terror. It's not going to be both of my big guys, which I guess is something. Do I want to lose Inspector? Keep the Veteran around? Probably. I have another Serpent. We get a Bugler. Or we have a Bugler. We have an Inspector too. I would love a Prismatic Strands. But I think we got to do Bugler for the power and toughness so that we can triple block another Serpent and not lose 2 of our guys. There's a Prismatic Strands going to the graveyard. I guess we'll take another Bugler. Oh, the fact they left us with the Skyfisher was interesting, because that can block the Aberration, but I mean, currently I'm triple blocking a Terror again, because if I triple block the Serpent, I do lose my 2 big guys. I'm only comfortable doing this, well, we kind of have to do this, but also, like, I'm not expecting them to have boomerangs or anything, or any instant speed interaction, which is nice. They have 1 card in hand. We're at 2 life. So I need to play 2 creatures, because I don't want to die to 1 counterspell. So I probably do Veteran plus Inspector. And then if they have a counterspell for one of these, I get to Skyfisher block here, trade, chump the Serpent, and then I have a string of chump blocks on the Serpent. But if I can get lands and things, plus the Phantom can start gaining us some life, maybe we can stabilize. I probably should have... My mana has been pinched the whole game, which has been really unfortunate. But if I had just gone for like the Thraben Charm early and stopped their guys from coming down, probably would have been better. So I block like this, I gain 2, and I just have 1 Serpent to deal with. Play Inspector. I think I'm gonna bring back a Phantom here, so for more life gain. They have a Force Spike. All right, so be it. We die to a Sleep of the Dead already, but we don't die to a Demon Inferior, so I'm gonna leave both of my guys back. Block here. There's a Thraben Charm. Probably doesn't even matter about the graveyard until they have something relevant in there, since they have so much mana, so I just want to build up to killing the Serpent. I think I'll play an Inspector. If this doesn't get countered, I might just crack a Clue, try to hit a land drop. Or I could play Informant. I guess that helps with the land drop too, although I don't want to discard anything in my hand. Yeah, I could leave up this Charm, but I'm not really sure what I'm using it on. If they have Sleep of the Dead, Charm doesn't matter and I die anyway. And if I get a land and then I get another land, it could really matter to crack it now, because then I could play like Bugler plus hold up a Charm, or use Charm actually, kill the Serpent. Could be really good. Actually, no, because I have to chump here again. Well, I'm getting closer to being able to kill the Serpent. Veteran, okay. I can gain some more life. Or maybe I should have just ditched it to Informant. Let's play Bugler, see if they have a counterspell for that. They do. I think I'm still just blocking with this guy. We gain a life. We're finally out of range of 1 hit killing us from Serpent, so that's nice. They play an island, so Veteran, Skyfisher, bounce a Grange, counter on the Phantom, and now we start attacking. I don't need a chump block this turn because I can just take one. Unless they have a piracy charm or something weird, we're gonna not die. And then I can Informant and Thraben Charm this guy. They do get a Brainstorm. That could find some more stuff. Feels like a Demon Inferior, probably. Trying to decide what to hit. Anything they hit, I get to put on top, which is just more value. Actually, not bad. Also, it still leaves the battlefield, so we gain some more life, which is kind of cool. Deep Analysis, sure. An Island. Flashback, Deep Analysis. They do have a Terror. Well, we're taking 6, I think. Unicorn. I know we have a Skyfisher on top. So I play Informant. I probably get rid of the Unicorn. I Thraben Charm down the Serpent. I mean, I guess I could keep both of these. Replay the Grange. No, I think I want to kill one of these, though. They've used 2 Demon Inferiors. Do I think they're going to have any more? Because Sleep of the Dead still just kills us. Unless they have to, like, Lorien into Sleep of the Dead. But I really want to attack them. I have to chump with something. If it's this, I hit for 2. Then next turn I hit for 6, maybe. Yeah, I think we'll just attack with one of these guys and hope we don't die from attacking. Thought Scour hits Ponder Island. Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets. Well, chump block here. Gain some life, so 1 Delver hit's not lethal at least. Plains. Might as well crack a clue. So close. So I could play a Skyfisher, bounce a Grange, put a counter on the Phantom. If I attack with both Phantoms, we die to a flipped Delver, though. So I'd have to attack with only 1. We hit for 3, maybe. They're at 5. Then we have to trade and chump block. We need to find 2 more damage. Or I could return a Phantom, gaining life. Replaying it, we have a blocker and a trade that lets us get a creature back. I think that's probably better. Oh, plus I get to attack with this. So I can attack with both. Unless Skyfisher gets countered. If it gets countered, we're dead anyway, I think. So let's hope it doesn't. Bounce a Phantom, gain a life, replay the Veteran. Alright, pass the turn. They flip off a Ponder, that's pretty good. Cast it. Lorien revealed. Another Serpent. They've drawn so many creatures. I guess they're at 14, but still. Have to block here and here. We need a way to deal 3 more damage here in the air. That seems tough. Well, that's not going to do it. Crack a clue. Thraben Charm. I mean, I could just bring this guy back and survive, but that's not very good. Crack a clue. Prismatic Strands. Just too late. Like, if we literally had it this turn before having to crack 2 clues, we could be okay. I mean, I guess we're not dead. Strands gains us a lot of time. We do this. Okay, we are dead. They counterspell, because if I had that, I could double block. We have 4 Strands in the main deck. We needed 1 sooner. That was annoying. Let's see. Journeys are good here. Take out Palace Sentinel, Steadfast Unicorn, and a Bugler. Alright. They had more Serpents at the beginning than I was anticipating, but if we had considered a little bit more that they could drop 3 Serpents right away, then I could have tried to blow up their graveyard, which would have slowed them down considerably. I think it would have been a pretty easy game from there. It's just we were pinched on mana, so I didn't want to spend a turn not casting my creature, because usually I am eager to charm away their first, 4 or 5 spells, but it was just really awkward. But I think if we had, they had so many Serpents, they didn't have much interaction, and they were dead in the water for turns there, so yeah, that would have been better, for sure. Alright, we are on the play. Yeah, I mean, the hand's not the best thing ever, but we do have a charm. We got some mana. I think we just play Inspector. Obviously, we lose a life, but if I don't draw another 1-drop here, I probably just want to crack a clue / hold up charm anyway. Delver. Or maybe I'll be forced to just kill the Delver right away. Another charm makes it easier to do that. A Delver's not usually the biggest problem for our deck because I could just block it with a Skyfisher or something, but if I don't draw one of those, it could end up being problematic. So I have to make the decision now if I want to kill it, because if I wait till their turn, they're going to be able to counter it, obviously. I think I should. It can be problematic, and if I kill it now, assuming they don't have another one, they're going to be forced to go to the Terror plan, which is filling their graveyard, which means that our second charm should be really effective, ideally. They're going to Ponder. They're not going to reveal anything. I don't know why I thought that. Having the second charm makes that a good choice. Yeah, I agree. I probably would not have done it if I had just the 1. We know they have Force Spike, So let's just inform it first. Also, I might just want to discard the veteran here. Gut shot. Okay, fair enough. Well, now I don't care about the counter, so if I just drew a land, I would get rid of that. But I didn't, and I want the 4th land, so... discarding veteran means I don't gain life from the Battle Screech, and I don't have a 1-drop this turn, but, like, look at the other cards. I'm not discarding my 4th land, my Battle Screech, or my 3-of Charm, so there's no way. They do cycle a Lorien for an island. So here, I mean, if they, like, Mental Note and hit 2 spells, they could play 2 Terrors. That'd be unfortunate, but I guess if they Brainstorm, Mental Note, play 1 Terror. It's not the end of the world. It does mean I have to probably 3-of Charm their graveyard as opposed to Battle Screeching. Oh yeah, they also milled a Deep Analysis and a Sleep of the Dead, so we're definitely getting rid of that. Another Informant. So I can play Informant, although I don't really want to discard this Battle Screech, I don't think, because I want to hardcast it. So I probably just get the Veteran out. And then I want the counter on the flyer. And then we're going to exile their graveyard before they have mana available. And 1 Terror isn't too hard for us to deal with. We have a bunch of life gain, damage prevention, chump blockers. It's just when they land 3 on turn 3 or 4 that it's real problematic. We'll take 5 here. Battle Screech, they counter. I kind of want to just Informant so that if they counter, I can like at least crack a clue. If they don't, I might just discard the Battle Screech. Yeah, Skyfisher's pretty good too. So if they counter the Battle Screech now, then I can resolve a Skyfisher. Potentially, obviously they could have 2 counter spells. And then we'll just pick up an Inspector. Alright, I mean that wasn't bad. Obviously I would have loved to get some birds, but we got 5 power, 5 toughness on the board. I'll swing for 5. They Lorien. Alright, so we have 7 damage here. We're going to definitely start with a Bugler. If we find like a Leonardo or something, we're going to want to use it. We don't. We find a Skyfisher or an Inspector. It's going to be a Skyfisher. Attack for 7. And I probably just pick up Bugler. No, I just want to be aggressive. They're at 9. Let's just pick up a Grange. They Mental Note, hit Sleep of the Dead, Dispel, cycle a Lorien, so they could play some Terrors. There's a Serpent. No attacks. Luckily, we don't even have to go on the ground. We can just attack in the air for 7. Not quite lethal, but pretty close. We'll start with an Inspector, because that's probably the only thing we're going to cast this turn, and they're not going to probably counter it. Now we'll crack a Clue. Another Grange. Put a counter on a Skyfisher, in case they want to bounce back to our hand. And we'll just swing for a bunch flying. I was a little hasty in forgetting that with only 3 blockers, they do have lethal on board, technically. They would need a Sleep of the Dead from hand, I think, or like a Demon Inferior, as well as double Sleep from the grave, but I probably should have held back an extra Phantom or something there, because I didn't need to attack with everything. There's a Demon Inferior on the flyer, second from the top. So literally just losing 1 guy makes it so we're not dead to lethal unless they had a gut shot, which they can't afford. Plus, they were removing a non-blocker, so they obviously weren't going for lethal anyway, but should have thought that through a little bit more, for sure, because we could have thrown at the end there. Alright, we do have some 1-drops. We have a Charm, but if we just miss our land drop, there's not a lot of time to recover, especially when they're keeping 7, so I think we gotta get rid of that. This one's not amazing. Skyfishers with no 1-drop is really awkward. Bugler's so expensive. Journey, maybe we catch like a Delver. I kind of think this is not a keep either, unfortunately. Well, this one's not my favorite, but I guess we will give it a try. More lands is not quite where we want to be. See if they want to force spike our veteran. I guess they do. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I guess then again, my hand makes it so that force spike might just be useless against us, but like I'm also not upset about that getting countered. They'll certainly counter an Informant. I think I'm just going to bring back Veteran here. Like, if they have a handful of counter spells, I'd rather they don't have very good targets for them. They go for a Brainstorm. Cycle a Lorien revealed. Play an Island. Play a Veteran. I think we're just going to pass. They're clearly holding up counter spells. Maybe they have some Mental Notes and stuff, but they didn't have a Mental Note or Thought Scour last turn with the Lorien, probably. So it feels like waiting is probably decent. We really just can't afford to have the only couple spells we have get countered. But of course, if they just play a couple Terrors here, we're going to be in a tough spot. Cycle another Lorien after that Brainstorm. Gut shot the Phantom. Alright, there's not really a reason they need to do it on the end step here, but that does make them have 6 spells for a Serpent. Still holding up counterspell. Play a Novice Inspector. Play a Grange on the Inspector. I think we'll just pass. Swing for 6. We'll just take it for now. Is this White Weenie Leonardo? Yes, it is. Correct our clue. We get a Charm and a Battle Screech. So they don't have any other creatures, which is nice. So I can play Informants that probably gets countered. Then I can Charm their graveyard because I can't kill their creature. If I Battle Screech now... I mean, if they don't counter the Rafine's Informant, then I get to ditch the Battle Screech and then I get to blow up their Serpent, maybe. I just feel like they probably will have the counterspell for it, in which case then I don't really get to do much this turn. Whereas if I just cast Battle Screech, that gets countered. And at least next turn I can do Informant, Charm. No, I think we'll do the Informant, because if they counter this, then I get to resolve a full Battle Screech next turn, and that's a lot of life, a lot of blockers. It seems decent enough. I still think we probably want to get rid of their graveyard, because if I have to deal with another Serpent, I'm probably not gonna survive. So even though currently it's not doing much, if they draw a Serpent, which they'll be looking for more, it'll be really bad. I could use this to kill this Serpent, but that's only if I get another creature, which is potentially with counterspells they'll be able to keep away. I don't know. They go for Deep Analysis. Swing for 6. Bugler. Ugh. Whatever we cast here feels like it's going to get countered. If I Battle Screech, no good comes of that. If I Bugler and it gets countered, next turn I resolve Battle Screech. I mean, that was my thought process last time. Bugler's more mana efficient, which means if I draw a 2-drop next turn, I can play them at the same time. I think we just go for the Screech. And they might not have a counterspell. They've already used up 1. Spell Pierce. Well, that's pretty good. I could chump block with a Veteran. That means I get to Bugler Veteran next turn. But if I don't, then I get to Bugler, Battle Screech, gain some life off the things. I think we'll just try to keep the pressure up. Spell Pierce is pretty unfortunate. Obviously that potentially might have meant that the Bugler would have been better, but obviously we didn't know they had it. Thought Scour, an Island, and a Lorien. Swing for 6. We're down to 3. Flashback, Deep Analysis. 4 cards is a lot. We get a Strands, but it's... well, if I cast Bugler and it gets countered, we still have blockers if there's no Sleep of the Dead. If I hold up Strands, probably don't die. I can attack for 2 and hold back Veteran to block. They would need 2 counter spells. Yeah, I think we gotta hold up Strands. Strands and Upkeep. I don't know. If we don't Strands and Upkeep, they would need to have 2 counter spells and a removal for our Veteran to kill us. So I kind of think I'd rather they have to tap the Serpent so I can get in with the Novice Inspector for more damage. I think the Strands and the Upkeep is really good when you absolutely need it to resolve. And look, if they have 2 counter spells and a removal spell, we will die, and maybe it is best to have Strands in their Upkeep, or it will have seemed that way. But, if we didn't have a creature, and so we needed Strands to resolve, or we just die it right away, from 1 counter spell, I would definitely do it here. But, I don't know. It feels like they're probably just going to let us block, which I'm going to do. I still am going to Strand so that I have it in my graveyard for free. If they want to counter, that's fine. I'm still not dying. But this way, if it resolves, I have my Veteran. I can Bugle, plus potentially play a 2-drop, and Battle Screech, depending on counter spells. Choose blue here. I have 4 cards. Journey's pretty dang good. We have a 2-turn clock just from our hand, so I think we're going to Bugle first. I'm not 100% sure which one of these I actually want to resolve more, but we'll Bugler. Well, it might not matter if they just have counters for both, which they do. We're still going to attack, so here, they still need a removal spell and a counter spell, and they just use 2 counter spells. So here's another time where now we have to ask if we want to Strands Upkeep. I don't think we're gonna. I really need their creature to tap, because if we can Strands here, stay alive, like a Grange or a Core Skyfisher picking up our Grange gives us lethal, assuming they don't have a blocker. They have a Serpent. Come on, give me something. That is something. It's not the best thing ever, but it is a creature. Get rid of a Journey that I would love to have. I think we have to flashback the Battle Screech and then hope they don't have a removal spell, because if they do, we die. If we don't, then we could block. I think this pretty much sets us up to win next turn if they don't. So, yeah. Are you going to try Surveillance Cam combo? I am not, as I'm not a combo player. We already played against it in this league. I'm sure a lot of other people will have fun playing it, and that's great for them. I'm not much of a combo player, so I'm going to be playing more the quote-unquote fair stuff. Like Leo here, Raph, Orku, Saki, maybe some of the food stuff. But no, I'll leave the sewer valence for other people. All right, if we attack with the team and they have an instant speed bounce spell, I guess they could have a gut shot. Oh, God. If they have a gut shot, they survive. And they could have a gut shot. Because they block here, they gut shot this. I was just going to attack and win, but if they have a gut shot, we lose. So, I mean, if they draw Sleep of the Dead, we're going to lose. That almost makes me want to just attack with this bird. Play it safe. They attacked with just one serpent. They would have left back 2 if they didn't have an out. I think I have to. Maybe they're like bluffing it pretty well. But how's this card? We've only played it a couple times, but it seemed pretty good so far. They Thought Scour, mill a Demon Inferior, they have an island, attack all lethal damage. I just explained why I decided not to attack all for lethal. They could have a gut shot, and they played as if they had a gut shot. And if they have a gut shot, then we lose because we've tapped out. So I had a reason for doing that. See, now they didn't attack because even with a gut shot, they would have died, which tells me they probably have the gut shot. And if I attack all here, block, block, they don't die. Unfortunately, we're not drawing very well, but I think I have to attack just the bird again. And if they have the gut shot, they probably use it here because they're not going to be able to use it, so maybe they don't. Like, I'm admitting I'm playing a little maybe overly cautious, but I'm playing this way for a reason. They've already shown us they have sided in gut shots, so. And I think the only card we lose to is a Sleep of the Dead, which if they find, we're going to die. They have another Serpent, that's pretty good. Gut shot does cost 2 life, though. Well, they had 2 life to pay a moment ago, and if we'd attacked all out, we would have lost. Now they can't play a gut shot, but before they could have. Counterspell, that's pretty good. If he had gut shot, it would hasten his death. If I had attacked all, they could have blocked the Rafine's Informant with the Serpent, gut shot the bird, and I suppose they would have lost 2 life. You know, maybe you're right. Maybe I made a mistake there. Looks like it's going to work out, but yes, you're correct. That was my mistake. I was not thinking about that. Okay, you're right. So I should have attacked all out. I was thinking of I wasn't thinking about the fact, obviously, that you lose 2 life. So if I had attacked block, they would have died. Fair enough. We got there. So it's all okay. Instead, you put a little saddle on your bird and rode him to victory. Exactly. I wanted him to get all the glory. Just joined. How has TMNT been? It's been all right so far. We've only really gotten one match where we've been able to show off Leonardo, but it was pretty good there. I guess we'll keep this. We need a couple more lands. By the way, I love the YouTube videos. I appreciate that. Thanks so much for watching. 3 more turns to draw Leonardo and show it off on stream. Exactly. You know, I'm trying to maximize the new card content. How are matches 1 and 2? Pretty good. We're 3-0 so far. We played against Spy Walls and the new Sewer Valence combo, and then just finished up against Blue Terror. Looks like we're against Grixis, potentially. I think we're just cracking a clue here so that I can hopefully hit those land drops. Jeskai was the other possibility, and that's indeed what it is. Ooh, okay. So, Mouser Foundry, new card when it enters or leaves, create a 1/1, sack it for 5 mana to Lightning Bolt a creature. So this is going to be a new Glint Hawk deck, because they can pick this up, make a bunch of 1/1s, which is kind of cool. Pretty unfortunate we're not drawing any lands. Our hand is pretty bad without land drops. Swing for 1. If I want to block, this gives me something to do with my mana, bring it back from the grave. I think we'll just take it right now. We could gain a lot of life off of this guy with the Battle Screech later, potentially. Bet they use the Point Squad. Yeah, 2/1, whenever another creature enters, you get a counter on it. That would be pretty sick. Now we get another 1-drop, so I can play that. We can't really attack now. I mean, I don't have that much going on, but this is pretty slow and awkward for us. They crack their clue. Well, they don't have the best start either. Just Inspectors instead of, like, Core Skyfishers and Glint Hawks is pretty good. We get a Skyfisher. There's a Ninja. The ETB's a robot as well. Yeah, that one seems sweet. I don't know what to do here, so I'm playing Skyfisher probably. I pick up an Inspector for more value, probably, because picking up a land doesn't do anything. I could just crack a clue, try to hit our land drop, but I think picking up an Inspector at least gives us some pressure in the air. Luckily, they're not doing too much. We are currently testing Leonardo. He's pretty much the only one that I thought fit in White Weenie, but also the card I was most interested in trying, so I figured that's what we'd start with. Yeah, glad to have you here watching live as well. We've only really gotten him in one game so far, or one match so far, but he's pretty good. Synth turns up a Skyfisher. Yep, they got things rolling now. Pick up the Foundry for another 1/1. I mean, luckily I can just block all the 1/1s. No, they pick up the Synth and hit a land. That's pretty good. Bet this set has the most Pauper-worthy cards in a while. Yeah, I would say since Edge of Eternities, for sure. Because Edge also had a good number. I could Thraben Charm the Skyfisher, but I just get in for 2. I think I'm cracking a clue, hoping to hit a land. But if I don't, I can at least discard a Battle Screech, use that next turn. Fucat seems really strong, but I'm not sure where to put it. Yeah, it does seem pretty decent. It's 2 mana and sorcery to sacrifice a artifact or creature to draw a card, but like any number of times seems really good. I'm also not exactly sure where. Synth into Inspector. Is Leonardo too strong for this meta considering it is legendary? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. I would not for a second think it's going to be too strong because there are other removal spells than Cast Down. I know people are worried about their precious Cast Downs, but there are plenty of other cards that kill it. Like it dies to Bolt, so any red deck you go up against, it doesn't feel that great against, right? So we're testing it out. I know people are anticipating it to be very strong. I do think it'll be strong, but there's no guarantees yet. All right, still no lands. I could just double Inspector, but I think we want to hit Informant in case we can find a land drop. If I can find a land drop, then I can actually double Battle Screech here, or I could put a Strands in the Yard. I think the chances of him having an End the Festivities main deck are probably low. I'm going to hope that's the case. I'm going to play Inspector, Flashback, Battle Screech, Flashback, Battle Screech. And then pass. Legendary is also a downside. Yes, people also forget about that. Like, it means you can only have 1 on the field. Your second one is kind of a dead draw. That's why we're only playing 2. If that card was not legendary, for all we know, we'd want to play 4 of it. But yeah. Set has more than Edge, I think. I'd have to look at the exact numbers. And I definitely think it's possible the cards are a little stronger here, but, like, they have it going. When I did... I reviewed cards that were potentially playable from Edge. I think I had like 10 cards that I thought would see play, and I think most of them do, to some degree. Obviously not all absolute staples. And this one, I feel like there's maybe 10 at the max, but that's, I think, being a little generous on a couple of the food that are not amazing. Pizza removal spell seems very strong as well. It seems okay. It's definitely one I'm interested in testing in like a Orzhov Glintblade, but it's 4 mana is a lot. It is unconditional, but it's 4 mana sorcery speed, so I'm not 100% sure on it. This guy might be playing Leo too. Yeah, it's a possibility with all the creatures they have going on. I could see it. They're going to swing. I could double block an Inspector if I want to trade a bird for it. I think it's fine. Alright, we do have a Thraben Charm, which can either kill like a Glint Hawk and I can attack with a bunch of flyers, or it can blow up a Journey to Nowhere, get a Core Skyfisher at instant speed, which is kind of cool. I could also go for a Bugler, and if we hit a Leo, I can attack with all our birds and we can get like an 8 power guy down. Take them down a huge notch. That could be cool. We lose a couple birds to do it though. We're going to probably lose to their value at some point. We already kind of are. I'm trying to figure out how to win this one, and it's feeling real tough right now. They're only probably going to get more flyers. I could just charm the Glint Hawk, attack for 4. That's not that much. They have a lot more room. I kind of think that is the way to get through. We're just not dealing enough. I guess we could just start building our board. I just feel like they're going to build their board much faster with the foundries and all the stuff. Alright, I'm going to go for Bugler. Just try to build out our board. Theoretically, if we just get like, if we get into a board stall, we're going to take a Skyfisher. We get into a board stall and we get like 20 creatures on the board, but we get 1 Leonardo that can like break through. That could be a way to just win the game out of nowhere, potentially. If they just have no removal spells, of course. In Lord of the Rings, we got Legendary Matters cards in common. Wonder if those could become playable in the future. If more playable legends get added to the format, we might also get more of the Hobbit set. Yeah, it's possible. There's also a few from original Dominaria, because that had a Legends Matter theme. I've looked at those from Dominaria, and none of them seem very playable. But I don't know if I've looked at the Lord of the Rings ones. But in my estimation, there are only about 4 legendary creatures that are playable, even with the new Turtles ones. Maybe some of them will be really good, like if Leonardo becomes a staple in White Weenie, but like only 4 makes it feel like Cast Down's probably still going to be able to stick around, and probably like Legendary Matters cards are not going to be able to be great unless you obviously build around it. But I don't know for sure. They attack with the Skyfisher. They didn't do that much. They played like Synth and Cryo, but didn't hit super well, which is good. I want to find a Leo off the Bugler at some point, but I also don't want to show it this early because I don't think I'd want to be using it this early. They also have 4 mana, so they can just start cracking like Clues, Cryogens. I think we're going Skyfisher on an Inspector, and I'm playing the Inspector, and then we're going to hold up Charm to blow up the Journey for our Skyfisher. Then we're going to try to do a big attack in the air next turn, is my thought. As long as Chrysalis isn't errated as a legendary, cast down is safe. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Although, to be honest, Chrysalis would be a lot less powerful if it were legendary. Yes, it would dodge cast down, but you just also couldn't play a second one while you still had one on the field without it being a waste. Another relic, Wildfire. Yeah, I mean, when we get to this point, their deck's just filled with 2-for-1s. Tough to deal with. Honestly, I wonder if Legendary Chris would be a nerf. They're better multiples, and if any card should feel legendary, it's that card. Yes, I agree. I think it would be more of a nerf than a buff. It dodges cast down, which it already dodges a lot of good removal, but like only having one of it is good, but it's not where it shines. It shines where you get like a second one, and then there's suddenly 6 7s or whatever. Skyfisher coming in, so I could blow up the Journey now. Then I could try for a block. I don't even think I care about this attacking, though. We're still at 23. They did kill our other Skyfisher, so is it even the right time? Probably not. I'm going to crack a clue. Another Bugler. Another Skyfisher. Skyfisher picks up an Inspector. Play that. Should probably play a little faster, because this is already feeling like a game that could, a match that could go to time. I have a Galvanic for the Skyfisher. Sure. Which means I should just crack a clue, because if I get a land, I'll want to play it. Yeah. They're going to crack a Cryogen. I wonder if 2 Leo, 2 Guardian Pledge is the way to go. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. To be honest, to make room for the Buglers and the Palace Sentinel I wanted to put in and all this stuff, I ended up cutting both Guardian's Pledge, Remosian Rally, and my Chocos, and that was probably a mistake. It feels like I don't have enough ways to close the game now. So I definitely think the Guardian's Pledges need to come back in. So the dream board for a Leo attack. I mean, yes and no. Most of our guys get blocked. Oh, they have the Leo. There he is. Most of our guys get blocked, and then we get one big hit, and then we don't kill him, and then Leo never gets in again. I was trying to build out a Leo, like a one-shot Leo hit, but that might not be happening. Yep, you called it, Ben. They're just going to probably pick him back up? Sure. If we'd had our mana before, we could have been holding up Strands, which is what I was wanting to do. We're going to Bugle. Steadfast Unicorn, that's a pretty good one. I guess I'll play that because I'm planning to Strands here, probably. Although they're going to try to kill it. I'll probably Strands to keep it alive if they try to kill it. Oh, they have this thing to try to kill it. That's annoying. 3 damage to it. Yeah, I'm going to prevent that. They have a Bolt. Ugh. Finally got one of our board stall breakers. Don't matter. But yeah, if we had a Guardian's Pledge here, it'd be pretty good. So, probably should have some of those. Fine, I guess we'll quad block your Skyfisher. I do still have a Prismatic in the graveyard if I want to use it on the Leonardo, but like probably better to just try to kill this here. Sack a Synth, gets a Rustvale Bridge, Raven Inspector. Let's crack a clue. Let's crack another clue. Play Inspector, and pass the turn. If this is going to be a slog, and I mean, for all I know, they could mill out because we're going to be such in a board stall. They could time out by the end of the match. Might win by them drawing their deck. Yep, I was just thinking the same. Journey's decent, but like they take a Bugler. I guess a Bird here, sure. But yeah, I'm not going to block. Then they get to Leo, and then I'll just Strands it. Can Skyfisher the Hawk. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. There's so much stuff going on. But you're right. I was waiting for that to happen at some point, for the Hawk to come in. I will probably try to do that next time. They could obviously just have a Bolt for the Skyfisher if I get that, but would have been smart to go for it. They pick up Cryogen, replay Cryogen. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping they'll mill out. It's a lot of turns away, but let's see. Yep, there's a Skyfisher picking up the Leo, I assume, which I could just kill, but oh, they pick up a Journey with it. Oh, which took the Bird. Sure, yeah, that's clever, I suppose. Exile the other Bird. I think you still need Guardian's Pledge. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely feeling it in this creature versus creature matchup. That it was definitely a mistake to... I should have kept that Plains for this format. But it was definitely a mistake to take out all the Guardian's Pledges. I still have Leo, and I have Unicorn, although Unicorn died here. But you're definitely right. Not sure where you fit it in. Yeah, I definitely don't have to play all the stuff I'm playing. I don't have to play Palace Sentinel. I don't have to play... don't necessarily have to play 4 Buglers. I could drop 1, you know. But should have probably thought about this kind of a matchup a little bit more. I mean, I'm hoping if /when we go to game 2, you know, bringing in some dust to dusts will do some major work. All right, here I am going to go for destroying this one. This journey, giving me back Skyfisher, picking up Inspector probably. And then, yeah, they're going to bolt it. Sure. I could prevent that to eat the Glint Hawk. Yeah, that might actually be worth it. I am just trying to slow them down. Of course, I have the Prismatic to blank their damage if I want, but I think here I just... It blanks our damage too. I think here I just want to eat these guys... And Bugler plus Inspector, like these guys on the ground aren't doing that much anyway. I mean, they will eventually if they... I wonder if they have a way to pump their team or if it's just Leo. Alright, pretty good for us. Sack a Synth. Gets a Lightning Bolt, which is already wasted, which is nice. Because of the strands. They do have this Foundry they can sack. There's our Leonardo. Although their Mouser Foundry can kill our Leonardo. I guess we have the Prismatic Strands to prevent that. So I might do that. Play an Informant here. I mean, this would be the turn. We wiped all their flyers. We have a Grange. Alright, we'll swing with the flyers. And we're going to go for it. I bet you didn't expect this card. He's going to be 11 or 9 power. Gain a life. They're going to sack that to kill it. We're going to try to Strands to keep it alive. That works. Alright, deal him 11. And then... I mean, Skyfisher probably just picks up the Leo. It's not going to get in ever if it's not in my hand. And I think I'm just going to hold the Grange because I don't really know where I want to put the counter necessarily. Probably doesn't matter yet. Like, I might want to put it on a flyer. I might want to put it on blocker, I guess. They bolt the Skyfisher. Okay. I mean, if they can just kill all our flyers, obviously. Unless we have more creatures than them, which we don't. We can't get the Leo in. They also get a Galv Blast. Okay. I mean, if they Galv Blast the Bugler, they can attack for some damage here. I mean, they have to throw away, like, some 1/1s or just attack with a couple guys. Alright. Well, I can double block an Inspector for no loss, and if they have another Leonardo, then we might actually be in some trouble. I think we'll block a Samurai. Glad Leo competes with Spider-Man and Chocobo for a slot to keep White Weenie from being a total clown show. Yeah, I agree. Looks like they do have it. Yeah, 11 power is pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of Spider-Man, but the Choco I've been enjoying. And this, I definitely think Leonardo doesn't fit in the same version, but I don't know. I do think that people are overblowing Leonardo a little bit because they're like, oh my god, it just hits for so much, but it hits once, and then unless you can like Skyfisher it, it's not going to hit again probably in certain matchups. And so I think it's definitely very different from like a Choco where it's like, yeah, it's 1 damage per creature, but also Choco's 1 damage per creature 4 turns in a row, you know? Whereas this is only if you can get it through. We do have a bird here. I mean, they have a bolt up, it looks like. So I assume they just bolt the bird. But we don't have much else going on, and we are losing. Actually, this doesn't even kill them. This would only be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the Leonardo. And I'd lose a bird for it. It's probably still worth. Put him to 1. But I'm not sure I can necessarily finish the job. And I didn't get a creature here. Unfortunate. If I had just drawn a creature, I could have won right there. Can counter him too. Yeah, that's also true. Like, he's counterable. He dies to not cast down. Okay. They didn't want to mill, or they already have all their lands probably. Yeah, it can be countered. It dies to a bolt. It dies to a lot of things. Like, I think it's probably going to be good. That's why I'm trying it. But also, I'm not really anticipating it fully taking the spot of Guardian's Pledge / Choco. One of those two is still going to be needed in the deck, I think, as we're kind of seeing. Like, he doesn't quite do it himself in this kind of a matchup. Glistener Elf. Glint Hawk. They're going hard on the synth here, down to 8 cards. We're just going to let them run out their clock / card count. I mean, they're probably going to kill us in about 2 turns here. We're going to lose, but I don't know. They are at 1. We just don't have any way to deal direct damage. He's a buff for sure, but not like a turn 3 spy combo type buff. Yeah, that too. Guy's going to mill out. Yeah, they're getting there. I mean, I do think if they just stop drawing extra cards, they could probably kill us in 5 turns, certainly, by just attacking. But if they keep casting draw spells, they will mill out. They do also have a lightning bolt, though. Alright, swing with the team. Block here. I mean, if they have another Leo, we actually will just die. As is, we're taking 8. Sure. To be fair, Spider-Man might be worth playing with Leo if there are slots for it. Yeah, I don't feel like there is room for all of that. but it's possible. Thraben Charm. They only have 3 blockers, but I only have 1 removal spell. Yeah, that's unfortunate. If they had 1 fewer blocker, I could Thraben Charm and then get them, assuming they don't have like a bolt or something. Oh, I guess I could Thraben Charm this Journey. Gets me a card draw. Yeah, I mean, if I can find like another Strands, I might at least be able to survive another couple turns, and maybe they do mill out. I'm going to do this now because obviously I could get a bunch of playables. We did not. I guess I attack with Leo and they have to block it, which is about the same as it blocking on the way back, except I could block the Leo. We'll attack. They just chump block and we'll pass. Thinning our deck is good. Yeah, it's marginally good for us. They probably should have just targeted themselves and then not found anything. I mean, killing our Grange was relevant because we could have bounced it, so I think killing that is fine. The little bit of thinning is not super relevant, but the second one was probably unnecessary. What about Norzhov Ninja's deck? Would that work? I mean, yes and no. I don't think a deck that's just like built fully around ninjas probably would do super well, but like if you just take like Orzhov Glintblade and add some ninjas to it, I think that could be decent, and I think I'll probably try something similar. They are very close to milling out, but also we're just dead on board, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so like an Orzhov Ninjas deck could be okay. I'm going to try out an Orzhov Glintblade deck with a couple of the new Ninja the Deep Hours, but we'll see. Def could be a fun deck to build. Yeah, Leo, Spider-Man, Rat Ninja, Refurb, Glintblade stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you could go really hard in the ninjas. I'm just not sure if you like want to, if that would be the reason to. What are they doing? Just kill us. All right. Well, we did die. They are 5 minutes down on clock. So we'll see how this one goes. That was game 1 for anyone just joining. We get Dust to Dust. And probably just that. I mean, I guess I could do Journeys for their creatures. Maybe that's not terrible. I think we're going to take out the Buglers because we saw they're very expensive and they just get, like, stonewalled with all their guys. And a couple Inspectors for the same reason. Sentinels. Sentinels are really tough, really risky, because if they get more flyers than we do, we'll just lose it. Like, they definitely could have taken a Monarch from us a lot of that game if they wanted to just all-out attack. And if we get Strands, maybe it is good, because it feels like it's really board stally. I'm just worried about losing it, but especially with them them having less time, I don't want something so polarizing that could accelerate them and actually win them the game quickly. So I think we'll leave it for this time, but I could see it being okay. We're just kind of trying to slow things down. Ideally, we can just Dust to Dust 2 of their lands immediately and, win the game, but we'll keep this one. This deck truly has become the Fortnite deck. Very true. And we'll get to 5, and we'll start the board stall by gaining a bunch of life with the Veteran. There's a bridge. Wheel, Informant. I'll get rid of the Screech. We can get out next turn and have a pretty fast, aggressive clock. Are you playing other decks after this? Potentially. Really depends on the time. I only have about an hour more that I can do this, and we're still in match 4, so it feels like maybe we might not be able to get to another one, is what I'm saying. We'll have to see. I'm just going to discard a Plains here, but we are going to Battle Screech. We miss out on 3 damage, but I think it's worth it to get the extra creatures. Sounds like enough time for Madness Burn. Maybe. I was going to do some Orzhov Glintblade with some new cards in it, but I'm not thinking we're going to have time, so I'll probably just have to record that off stream and do it as a video, just a regular video, in a few days. So I could just Journey their guy, attack for 5. It's not terrible. Then I get to play an Inspector. But then if they get like a Refurb, it's kind of rough. Not Refurb. Excuse me, Skyfisher. Then I can't really attack through. But I have a. I think we just want to be fast. The funny thing, every time I'm in this kind of a position where like our first game took forever, I'm like, oh well, we're on the play. We just want to be fast. But it's like I don't want to be too fast, because if we win the game in 1 minute, and then they have 6 minutes for the last game, and then they win that somehow, it's a lot worse than if I slowly win this game. I'm not going to play slow. I'm not going to slow play. But if I slowly win this game over the course of 5 minutes, then they're not going to have any time for the last game, and it's like, I don't know, it's a weird spot. They crack a clue. I mean, they might just concede right now if they don't hit a land drop. They don't. We'll swing. I'm just going to pass up with Strands up in case they have like a Breath Weapon. Be kind of weird for them to be playing Breath Weapon, but just in case. They could have like an End of Festivities or something. There's a Glint Hawk. Pick up Ancient Den, they can play a 2-drop. Skyfisher could block nicely, or like just a bolt or something. Alright, we'll crack a clue, see if they want to bolt something while we're tapped out. They do. Alright. I'm still just gonna... Usually I wouldn't throw away a guy for 2 damage, but I'm about to Battle Screech, fill up the board, and they did block the Inspector as opposed to the bird. That kind of tells me they probably have like Electricity or something to wipe the birds. Although if they wait until my turn, I can have a Strands up, so they'd probably do it right here, which would stabilize them pretty nicely. Just another Glint Hawk, though. Okay. Block, block, block. They're taking 4, plus they have a Bolt, maybe. If I attack with everything, I lose 3 guys, maybe 4. Unless I want to Strands it. They take 4. They're not dead, though. Kind of feels like I can't afford to do that, and I should just crack a clue, try to play a couple more guys. Or Breath 1 land off. Yeah, but in the deck they're playing with so many creatures, it seems unlikely they'd be playing Breath Weapon. Electricity is a lot more likely, or End the Festivities, because otherwise Breath Weapon could wipe their entire board. And yeah, that's basically it. Well, we just have lethal. They probably have a Bolt, but then my Strands can keep one of our guys alive, because 6 unblocked. Prevent damage from red sources. Hit for 6. All right, on to game 3. Jace BG subscribed with Prime for 3 months. I appreciate it. Hope the Hedron serves you well. How's it going? Ooh, this is... I mean, the Strands kind of looks like, oh, it could be a slow... Like, if I want to just stall them out, it can be the hand for it. But we have no early creatures. We could just die to, like, a fast start. No Hedrons here. You're right. You're a founder, which means no Hedron for you, apparently. Even better. You have the number 1 instead, because you're the best. What do we get rid of? Journey? Sure. Number 1 is better. Agreed. Inspector. I would love just a Plains so that I can play these on curve a little better. But we'll still start with the Inspector. We should get duo Decahedrons. Yeah, I agree. You should definitely get more for it. Well, no untapped land is a little awkward here. Also, Dust to Dust, not looking great. I mean, it probably will still be good at some point. White Weenie meta is a disaster as a rally player. I understand. They have no red mana. I mean, we're going to play an Informant because we can Battle Screech. Well, we can't Battle Screech right now, but we can get closer to a Battle Screech next turn. There's a Bridge and a Journey. Okay. I can Skyfisher, play an Inspector, Battle Screech. Pretty good. We have some removal. If they play another artifact land, we can dust them. Well, we need a Plains for that, but eventually maybe. Wildfire's pretty good. That means even if we do get to dust them, they're not going to be cut off color of mana. They've just drawn pretty much all their basics, which is kind of funny. Makes their Wildfires worse in the future. But Skyfisher picks up Inspector, replays Inspector. We're just going to kill the Skyfisher, probably. Another Dust to Dust. Not looking great, but I can just blow this up. Get in for 5, which is decent. In our local store, we did a Black Market Pauper Night, double points for the league. You bring your usual tier 1 to 3 deck and get assigned a random deck from another player. Really fun. That sounds pretty interesting, for sure. I definitely love just kind of wacky formats or events like that. Big fan. Robots are amassing. We do get a Plains. I want to keep the pressure up, but also they only have 2.5 minutes. We really don't need to keep the pressure up. So I probably just Skyfisher Inspector here. Like, I could Dust to Dust. I think I will next turn if nothing really changes, because maybe there will be better targets, but also, like, I have a bit more foundation from the flyers. Like, a bit more blockers in flying. Well, not anymore. I'm probably... They only have 1 card in hand, though. I mean, I'm going to double block this Glint Hawk with the birds, because the way we could lose this is if they have Leonardo, and I'd rather that does not happen. But here, I think we're just going to Dust to Dust. Take away... I could take away 2 lands. I kind of want to take away this Foundry, although he does give him a guy, doesn't it? Yeah. It means they don't have a Lightning Bolt for one of our guys, though, and we're actually running out of creatures. That's another way they could win, is we lose all our creatures and just can't get anywhere. Cutting off their mana feels pretty good, though, especially because they're going to crack this Clue. They're probably not going to crack this Foundry now, but they could pick it back up. Yeah, I kind of want it to stop one of their bridges. Yeah. Now they don't have a great artifact to pick up if they just get, like, a Glint Hawk. They crack a Clue. Got assigned Familiars. I'm a Rakdos Madness player. Needless to say, it did not go well for me, but fun nevertheless. Familiars probably in the top tier of hardest to pilot when you're just handed it and haven't played it before. So that does seem challenging. Familiar's so gross. It is a grosser one for sure. All right, they can't really attack unless, of course, they get like a Leo, but that's not great even for them. I think we're just going to take more lands so that if they get a synth, they can't pop off as much with it. It's worse if they kill both of our creatures and can start attacking with their robots. But, I don't know. They got a minute 40. We're hoping that doesn't happen. There's a Journey. Gets rid of one Inspector. They're going to attack. We'll block one. They do have it. That's pretty good. We'll take 10. I mean, I have the Journey for him. And we have a Strands. That's good. Yeah. I'm going to Journey him. I was going to crack a Clue, but I think we're going to pass. On the off chance they have another one, I would like to have Strands up. Because again, that's a way we can lose. If they don't, then I'll just crack 2 Clues. If they attack. Well, or if they don't attack. I guess they're also looking just for a removal spell for the Inspector, which would be pretty decent. They have a Glint Hawk. That doesn't pick up anything super relevant, just their bridge. Or a robot, but that would be a waste. They are still attacking. Block. Crack a Clue. I mean, we're at 3, or not 3, 6. We do have a Strands. I swear, if they win this, because we've drawn a million lands, that's going to be pretty unfortunate. I mean, Strands probably can say, like, keep us around for 50 seconds, but you never know. They have a Foundry, play their bridge, swing. I mean, I'm going to block these. No. Ugh. Yeah, because then this guy can come back. It's annoying because I'm going to prevent damage from white sources, which means my guy's not actually going to kill theirs. But I don't want to die to 1 bolt. But I can bring this back. Dust to dust. Just take the 1. What 1? Exile a couple guys. Pass. They've got 20 seconds, and they're not doing anything. Play Inspector. Crack a Clue. Cryogen off a Synth. Play Cryogen. 10 seconds and we still have a Fog. Block. Block. I mean, I might as well jump here. I mean, they got 2 seconds. I think we're gonna get there. And we draw the Leonardo. No reason to attack. We'll just cast him. Pass the turn to them. And we got there on time. I mean, they were probably gonna kill us. It is getting kind of close, but we were probably gonna lose here if they had a little more time. But unfortunately for them, they did not. So we are 4-0 going to the last round. How's Leonardo been so far? Decent. We've really only drawn him in 2 matches. First match, he was really good, won us a couple games, and then the match we just played, we drew him in a game where he was almost good enough. Like, we hit for 10, and then we hit for like 6, and it put him to 1, and if we had one more creature, it would have won us the game. So like, pretty decent for sure. Pretty sure we've concluded you should not cut all of your pump spells for him. We're missing the Guardian's pledges a little bit, but yeah, still seems pretty solid. We're against something green. Green is usually our weakness, seeing as green often means elves, a tough matchup, spy, a medium matchup, because we have 3 Charms, but speed is tough. 2 forests, but nothing to play is very unusual. Swing for 1. Rafine's Informant. Connives. We just gotta get rid of a Plains here. No pressure, but you might be the first result playing Ninja Turtle. Yeah, I mean, I was in the league at the beginning. We had to wait for other people to just be playing Pauper because there were not enough people playing it. Oh, I guess it's just like Gruul Monsters or something, but they just had no ramp. Gruul Monster is not a great matchup for us, so an unfortunate one for us to potentially have to deal with here. But yeah, we'll see. I'm also getting so many lands. I mean, I could Thraben Charm this, hit for 3. I don't think that's how we want to use our Thraben Charm. Plus, it's mana inefficient. We only hit for a little bit of damage. I'm usually a Bugler hater, and if it whiffs here, I'm going to be a huge Bugler hater. But if it hits here, it's kind of exactly what we need with all this mana. All right, well, we didn't get a Skyfisher, which is kind of what I wanted. Informant. Is Informant even better here? It's basically a 2-1 that draws us a card, but we discard a Plains. Whereas Inspector is 3 mana to draw us the card, but we don't lose the Plains, which could eventually be relevant because we're going to get into a board. So I kind of think I just want to take an Inspector here. Maybe that's crazy, but I guess it fits into our curve better, the other one of Thraben Charm Informant, but I just think if we stop drawing lands, these actually could be relevant. There's a Chrysalis. All right. Bugler is also decent in this matchup just because it has toughness. So if they attack here, well, I could block and block. If they have like a Ram Through or Bannerhide, it's a bit of a blowout. Makes sense. Informant is only okay versus Gruul if it's a 3-2. That's the other thing. Just it had less toughness, which I feel like is relevant. I think I just take it. I don't mind the trade, but if they do have like a Bannerhide or something, it's like really bad, and I could just wait until I have a Thraben Charm up and available to go for that block, and then if they have something, then I have a response. I also, now I'm doubly happy I got the Inspector because I get to play both of these, hold up our Clue / our Charm. We are going to hit a board stall here. Leo could be good eventually, especially if we get some flyers, but then he's going to get blocked really easily, so like Leo with Skyfisher specifically can be a nice like combo to keep him flying basically, but we'll see if that is something we're able to assemble here. Luckily they're almost out of cards with just 2 in hand, but we'll see what those are. Okay, Repurposer's not too bad. This is another matchup where I wish... Okay, double Repurposer, really not too bad. This is another matchup where I'm going to wish that I had Guardian's Pledge, but... Alright, they tapped out of all this first. So I can just kill the Chrysalis, which I will. Question is, can I make them sacrifice a bunch of stuff first? Because I can make them sack their spawn by blocking with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power. That I would do 6 power. Or I could just block this and then shoot the Chrysalis, but they still have 2 Repurposers. I kind of want to make them waste the Repurposers. Or not the Repurposers, the spawn. So like if I block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then they sack 1 or 2 to stay alive. Yeah, I'm taking 3 damage, and in exchange, I'm hoping to get both these spawn dead. They could just see it as a trick and not go for it, but I think they probably will. Then I get to just kill the Chrysalis anyway, and I got 2 spawn out of the deal. Which is pretty good, because if we get like a Unicorn or something and want to attack in, I need as many blockers gone as possible. Or same with like a Leo. We didn't really lose much from that. We're getting a lot of lands. Skyfisher's great, though. I think... I kind of... Like, I can pick up an Inspector and just replay it. I kind of want to get the Bugler, because it looks a lot further for like a Leonardo, which would be a quick way... Excuse me. Which would be a quick way to finish this game, which is what I'm looking for. They just go straight to combat. I mean, I don't want to lose the Skyfisher. It's not really a downside to doing this. They get to choose which one of these, but if they have a ram through or something, I still get to kill their guy. Same with Bannerhide. Alright, let's do that. And I don't care if the veteran dies, because I can just bring him back. I guess by picking up the Bugler, I did just lose, like, a decent blocker for this turn, which is not irrelevant, because if I had him instead of an Inspector, I could have done 2 double blocks that would have been pretty profitable. So I'm taking 3 damage I didn't need to, which could matter. Would love another Thraben Charm to feel pretty comfortable at some point. Let's go for the Bugler. Well, we just find another Bugler. I guess we'll take that. Bugler to Bugler makes it really hard for them to attack. Well, it makes it easier for them to attack, but I can block. And this one whiffs on a bunch of pretty good cards. That's annoying, but it's fine. I mean, the first Bugler finding the second was good, but the second one being a 2/3 Vigilance for 3, ugh, terrible. Rumble into, looks like a Jewel Thief. I love that the biggest I'm really having to deal with is 3/3s. That helps a lot. I am about to give them so much mana if they get a Hydra. Another reason I would love to have a Thraben Charm available. And of course I'm losing creatures for that Leo that I do want to get. Strange doesn't work with Repurposer though. No, I know. I was mostly upset about the Battle Screech, but also Repurposer's decent against... not Repurposer. Strange is decent against the other things that I'm worried about. I guess yes, if they put a Hydra on the Repurposer, not great. But still decent in general. Let's crack a Clue. We do get a Charm. Okay, I'm just going to leave up Charm because I would like to have it available, which means... I'm going to play Inspector. I could Skyfisher, but I pick up an Inspector. I actually can't block the Jewel Thief very effectively because I don't want to block with the Skyfisher. So I'm going to just get this guy instead, and then I can triple block the Inspector with the Thief with our Inspectors. Misspeaking a little bit, but you know what I mean. Like, this is a great block for us because unless they have a trick, which I do have a Thraben Charm if I really need, we trade 1 Inspector, a 1/2 for their 3/3 Vigilance Trample. We also gain a life. And if they don't do anything scary, we can crack a Clue here. Another Bugler. Let's start with a Bugler. Alright, there's the Leonardo. So I'm going to just swing. You can reset Lunark. Nice. That is exactly what I was going to do. Since we already have a Skyfisher in hand to pick up the Leonardo, I figured it would be nice to... I do like the flyer from the veteran, but I figured it'd be nice to just have this back. Just another creature, so... We're in a pretty good spot. Holding up the Charm is just some nice insurance, and we take that game. Alright, this is a matchup where Journey's particularly good. Palace Sentinel seems tough, because they have a lot of trample and stuff. Dust to Dust is a no. Holy Light, not really. Kind of like the Gruul matchup as White Weenie. Sure, they have Chrysalis, but they can get to play mid-range, and they have to commit to the initiative, which is easy to steal. I would assume that they probably take out the initiative in post sideboard games. I don't know for sure because I haven't played that matchup a lot. But yes, if we were able to steal the initiative, I feel like we've usually won, assuming we have like a Strands to keep it around a couple turns. I feel like they're just a little bit too fast usually for me. Not to mention the fact that Strands is decent against the initiative, but they have red creatures, colorless creatures, and green creatures. And then we have so many chump blockers, but they also have trample and the ability to give trample to any of their creatures, including their colorless creatures. So there's just a lot of things that I think make it kind of awkward. But I understand it. Maybe it's more balanced, but I've also heard a lot of other White Weenie players who say that it's not a matchup they love either. I think we usually just cut a couple inspectors because they're just on the ground and kind of get muddied up. Bearer forces them to play Hydra always as bestow or not. So standard bearer would mean that they would have to target our guy if they want to bestow it, our standard bearer, which is good. It's the only thing in their deck that's probably going to matter for that. Maybe if they bring in ram throughs, they're going to have to target the standard bearer, but I don't really care too much. I mean, I guess it protects a Leo, which is maybe not terrible. But they can still just cast it as a creature normally, because then if they're casting it as a creature, it doesn't have a target. So it's an interesting idea. I'm not saying it's terrible. I like bringing in standard bearer against elves for Hydra as well as some other cards. But here it feels like it's only going to matter there, and it is a big thing that is relevant, so maybe it is worth putting in one, but I think we're just gonna go with the journeys here. I will say I don't usually play Bugler in my list, and I think Bugler makes this matchup better just because the 2/3 is really key. 2/3 with any other of our creatures is a nice blocker on their 3/3s. That said, I think this hand is too slow. We're on the draw. We don't have anything till turn 3. They could have an Avenging Hunter by then, so I think we have to mulligan that. This one is not too different. I think we're going to keep, but the Skyfisher's having no 1-drop. I'm hoping to draw a 1-drop. It's really awkward. All flyers is really good if they don't get any of their reach creatures or if we get to kill just the one they have. I really want to keep Leo too, but I don't think I can put back a Plains if I want to have this Battle Screech. So I feel like it's probably... Actually, maybe it is just a Plains, because if we draw Plains, we're not too upset. If we draw just about anything else, except for like Buglers, we're not too upset either. Skyfishers might have to be picking up lands anyway. Yeah, I don't think this is necessarily... Like, it's a little greedy, but it's also, like, I think just the right card to put back. I start with a Wild Growth. We get a Thraben Charm, so no 1-drop. And, like, it's... Skyfishers picking up our lands is going to suck, but if I don't get a different 2-drop, like, what am I going to do here? I could play nothing. I don't think that's very good. They didn't play anything, which is kind of helpful. I can charm their aura. That is very true. Seeing as they didn't play anything on turn 3, I actually do think that's a reasonable play, because then they're going to be on turn 3 again with 3 mana, and they probably won't have anything to play again. So actually, I do think I like that. Sometimes it's not worth it. The really bad part about it is that we lose one of our few removal spells against a creature deck, but I do think we need the tempo here to not have to deal with a Chrysalis next turn, right? So I think we are going to do that. Hi, I just joined the stream. How have you been liking... Ooh, and if they have no other land... Okay, now this is incredible. That was great. Sorry, I will get back to your comment real quick. That was great, and then we get Informant into Strands. Yeah, play Plains. I mean, if they don't hit lands, obviously we're just in a great spot. How have you been liking Leo so far? I tested it out as a 2-of in White Weenie and 2 local events last week, and I believe the card has great potential. I think it has great potential. We have only drawn it in about 3 matches now. It's been decent for sure. I think I built the deck a little wrong. I don't think I want a Leo here. I think we just let it go. I think I took out all the Guardian's Pledges, and I don't think I should have done that. I should still probably have 2 of those in. Okay, I think I just want to double Skyfisher picking up Plains, because I just want to hit as hard as possible. I don't care about the value, I just want to kill them dead. I don't want them to be able to recover from this. So let's do that. Maybe actually the second one I didn't need, because I could just play an Inspector, and it's going to hit just as hard with the turning it into a Leo as if I turn the Skyfisher into a Leo, so that might have been a mistake. Now they have a 3-drop, but I'm not too worried about that now. Also, amazing work on your White Weenie guide. I picked the deck up like 3 months ago and found it very useful. I appreciate that. I might have to retool the whole guide if Leo is good enough, but I appreciate that you enjoy it. Okay, do I just attack here? They block. Okay, it actually was worth it having the flyer, I think, than the Inspector. So they block here. They're going to trade. I swap Leo. They take 5, and then I replay Skyfisher. Next turn, I'm going to Battle Screech. Yeah, all right. Things are going well, but they did just get their mana. Things could turn south. They don't block at all. Okay, well that's interesting. I feel like I thought they were going to have to block, but I guess they don't agree. And this is only adding 1 damage, but it also lets us replace Skyfisher, pick up the Leo, or I could just play Inspector, but that's probably not as good. Yeah, so I've been liking Leo so far. We, have won a couple matches with him, and what we just saw, not the most impressive thing ever. I paid 3 mana to deal 1 damage. Is that what I did? Yeah, that seems really bad. I probably should have done something else. So, yes. But I do think there's a lot of potential for sure. Chrysalis is unfortunate. I would love to get just like a Journey to Nowhere here. Okay, so I probably just Battle Screech. Yeah, it's probably fine. We Battle Screech, we have a ton of flyers, assuming they don't have a breath weapon, which we have a Strands for. Then once we have a ton of creatures, I can Leo and just win with him, even if they have a blocker. Okay, I think we should be fine. Can't attack this turn, but that's okay. Do I actually want to tap the Informant? Maybe not. Because I might want to block the Jewel Thief with it, theoretically. Because let's see. Next turn, I have 7 creatures. I can play an Inspector as an 8th. So Leonardo comes down as 8 power. I get in with 1 other bird, and I should be lethal. So I think we should be okay. Even if they have another Chrysalis, we should probably be fine. Imagine if this Chrysalis were legendary. It would just die right away. I'd love that. They have no attacks. They do have mana up, which could be for a Ram Through. Let me just look up the text of Ram Through, because I'm pretty sure it's the creature dealing the damage. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power, which means Strands is not going to prevent a Ram Through from killing a guy. So I could attack with all my flyers. They block both Skyfishers. I swap Leo for a bird, and they take lethal. If they have the Ram Through, then we only get in for 3. We lose both Skyfishers. We still then can play a Skyfisher, pick up Leo again. I think we're going for it. Leo, and then maybe Skyfisher, which means I should play this first, because it would be another damage. Like, we're going for it, because they might not have a Ram Through. There's a pretty big chance they wouldn't. But if they do, it could be a little unfortunate. So, we lose a bird, but we gain an 8 power attacker. They're tapping a green. Don't love that. Lots of situations in this league where Chocobo is better than Leo. Yeah, like, I agree. Also, if this was just a Guardian's Pledge, they have the Ram Through. Strands is not going to save it, as I was just saying. Target creature deals damage, and this is colorless. I can't prevent damage from a colorless source. Yeah, if this was just Guardian's Pledge, we would win here. If it was Choco, it would be decent. That's unfortunate. I can't prevent the target. This isn't giving protection. If I was giving protection from green, then it would. But So this prevents all damage that sources of the color of your choice would deal this turn. This is not dealing damage. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. If the creature you control, blah, blah, blah. The creature is dealing damage. It's a colorless creature. So if I was giving protection to Leo, green would work because it would make Ram Through fizzle. But if Strands gave protection, it would be unbelievably broken, of course. So that's not going to work. So there's no reason to waste Strands. So we hit for 3. We lose all our Skyfishers. We have another one. Yep. I mean, we took the chance, and it did not work out. We're not, like, dead. They're still at 6, but it's not great. They're just attacking for 3. I probably block. What is this guy doing on the ground for us? Not a lot. If they have a Banner Hide or whatever, then they're not using it on something else. Plus, I could then just Strands if they Banner Hide. Yeah, let's just trade. I could just Strands this, just to not trade. The question is Strands going to be more relevant later? Because if they get a Hydra, it goes on a Chrysalis, it isn't good. It could be good if they get like a Boarding Party or, of course, a Breath Weapon. Yeah, if they resolve a Breath Weapon, we're going to lose. So I think we just let it go. It's like a fine trade for us anyway. Like, we take a damage, we get their guy off the ground. They can't really attack right now with the Chrysalises because of our flyers. That's the benefit from dealing some damage. Horrific Assault. Well, I have not seen Horrific Assault in a while. Same thing as the last one. It's the creature dealing the damage, so... And they now have Spinewood's Paladin? That's a crazy one to bring in for this match, it feels like. Probably better off playing the Crew Shock if they had it. Maybe, if those trade, and then they cast the Crew Shock, they have a 4/4. But if they just put 2 counters onto the Jewel Thief, they have a 5/5, right? Plus the 5/5 has Vigilance. That was a really good draw. We still can't really get in. They have 3 cards in hand. Only 4 mana, though. I mean, we gotta just Bugler, probably. Like, I could kill one of these, but I'm getting in for 2. That's not gonna work. Yeah, we're gonna Bugler. Veteran or an Inspector. Life gain from Veteran. Plus it can gain... It can become a Flyer. Probably just want the card. I don't know. I guess if we start cracking clues, we're probably like falling behind. But theoretically, if they have all 5-drop plus that they can't play, like maybe we stall out here and we're okay. Get to attack with a 5/4 trample. I don't want to lose any birds for this, so I think I could block and strands this. That wouldn't have been a terrible idea, I guess. Maybe should have done that. But again, then a breath weapon just kills us. Jewel Thief. Although we've already seen, I would say this is probably sideboard. Horrific Assault and Ram Through. Like, they might not have breath weapon potentially. Although if I get them to attack with both of these and then I get to Prismatic, that's pretty good. We'll crack a clue. Play an Inspector. And we'll just pass. Gotta be a little patient here, I suppose. Alright, I'm gonna go for the strands here. Yeah, I mean, we can't just keep taking this damage. So if they have the breath weapon, then we're dead. They're giving you a lot of leeway by not attacking with Chris. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, they're at 12, actually. I was thinking they were back at 6. And I think it's safe for them to not block. But yeah, by not attacking with the Chrysalis, that does help. 4, 3. Yeah. So we're definitely going to strands on green here. And if they have like a breath weapon, we're super dead anyway. They have the Cruise Shock to keep this alive. I could kill it. I don't think I care that much. I can kill it later. They have a Bannerhide for this one too. Okay, well, we're not losing our guys. They do get to trample over for a couple. I could Thraben Charm this. It's fine. We'll take 2, but nothing will die. Crack a clue. Like, here's Journey's good. Okay. Battle Screech is good. So I can kill both Chris's and attack for 3. That's not killing them very fast, though. These are the Tramplers. Oh, brother. I guess I probably just Journey something and then Battle Screech so that I have attackers for next turn when I take the other creature away. Flashback. Have to kill the Tramplers now. Yeah, I think I can probably get away with keeping one of them around, like the Jewel Thief. Is there a reason to... I think we're just going to hold up Thraben Charm. Yeah, so I think I'm going to kill the Paladin with Thraben here and probably take the 5 from the Jewel Thief. Or I could block. I'd lose a Bugler and an Inspector for this. Ground creatures anyway. And I kind of want to get rid of this guy. Yeah, actually, let's do that. I guess they can kill 2 Inspectors and a bird. 5, that's fine. Block like this, see if they have another Ram Through or Bannerhand or something. Now they have the breath weapon. That'd be pretty rough. Pulse back the Cruise Shock. I mean, I guess I might as well just exile their graveyard so they don't gain 6 life. We are taking 7 from this, but it's either that or this will be a 7-power creature, and then they'll get to eat a bunch of our creatures. This is definitely the Gruul Monsters list with the most interaction that I've seen. Like, the most tricks and stuff. Usually they just play a bunch of creatures and then roll over and die if you kill them. I don't appreciate it. Alright, so we're at 4. Probably have to Journey the Trampler now, unless I just get lethal somehow. They have a Sprawl, 1 card unknown. Give me something good. Plains is not good. They gain 6 life if you take that line, though. Letting them pulse it? Yeah, that's why I didn't want to. Double Journey. I can attack for 8. That's not lethal, but we can Journey this and then attack for 5. We have to get this, and I might as well do this now. Here. We're at 4. Let's see. If I attack with every bird, then I die if they get any haste creature, any removal spell. We've seen a bunch of those. I think I attack with all but 1 bird. They take 4, I lose a bird. This doesn't guarantee I don't have a way to guarantee I win next turn, so, because if I attack with everything, they block here, well, I die. If I attack with all the birds, oh my gosh, another Chrysalis. Well, that's not great. They do have to be a little wary, because if they attack with this, and then I have a way to pump these by 1 power, they die. So yeah, they can't, I mean, they could attack, but it's risky. Okay, if I find Leo here, it will win me the game, assuming they don't have another Ram Through, which I thought it would have won me the game a million years ago, but Inspector, crack a clue, Journey. All right, I'm waiting another turn. I mean, if I attack with all my birds, I get in for 3, but I lose 2. I mean, hoping for no Hydra. Avenging Hunter. Well, that's a scary one too. We are going to take the initiative, but of course them just having like a big trampler is scary. Leonardo waiting room. Yeah, come on. It'd be the perfect way to end the league is to just grab a Leonardo here. It's not Leonardo. All right. Crystal is still a good card. Yeah, I know. It's outrageous. I do get to take this. They're not going to have the Forge, so I get to block, block, block. I think we're hitting with all of them. They go to 4, and if they attack, they're dead in the air next turn. I could leave 1 back. I'm dead to a Ram Through anyway. Yeah, we're just attacking with all of these guys. They go to 4. Pretty sure it's just they win here or we win here. Oh, I should have played a plains, but that's fine. I mean, I guess if they don't attack, and we get to forge, block, 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 block. Technically, we don't have lethal on them. And we got the trophy. Look at this. We are not only top of the leaderboard, we are the leaderboard. We're the only ones there. Well, let me take a quick screenshot of this. I hate how dim it gets here, but look at that. Boom. Trophy with Leonardo. He's broken. Alright. I'm going to have to take a screenshot of this too. Sorry, let me save a couple of these real quick. Well, that felt pretty good. Because look at this. I've also never been the first one to get a trophy before, so that feels pretty good. In the new season, that is. Alright. Let's take a look at this list. Thanks for all the congratulations. Leonardo taking the merit without doing much. Yeah, Leonardo, he was good. He refused to show up right at the end there, so that's pretty rude. But whatever. Alright, so this was the list. I don't think it was perfect, so I'm pretty pleased to get the trophy even without it, because I really think we need a couple Guardians pledges. I will say that match 4, we won to time, which is a real way to win, so I'm not saying it didn't count, but we probably would have lost that match if there wasn't for time. And so if we had a couple Guardians pledges in the deck, I think we could have won that match a lot easier. So I think we need to add a couple more of those. Tag Fire Shoes, I certainly will be. Seemed good, but not game-breaking. Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, we didn't go up against a match where Cast Down was ever relevant, I don't think. Like, that, I don't even think we went up against a black player. I guess we played against Spy, but obviously no Cast Downs there. In our Spy match, it was pretty good, I believe. No, what was our first match? Spy was 2. Our first match was the Sewer Valence camp. It was pretty good there. Like, we saw it and we killed them with it. Then we didn't see it for a couple matches. Then in the Jeskai one, it was good. We were just 1 damage short of killing them with it on the second hit. And then in the last game, or the last match, we did see it do some work, but he decided not to show up right at the end. Have you changed your mind on liking the Buglers? So, yeah, so I've notoriously hated Bugler for a while, but I feel like it just makes sense to play him with Leonardo. This is the first time I played Bugler in a while, because I'm generally not a big fan. It didn't feel too bad. I will say we didn't go up against any hyper aggro decks. Of course, we already have a good matchup against like Red Rally and stuff like that, and also against Black Sack, Blue Fairy, so a lot of the more aggressive decks. But one of the reasons I have not cared for Bugler in the past is it's just really expensive for what it does. Obviously, the effect is really good, but like I would not necessarily say Bugler's more value than like a Skyfisher. Obviously, it's different, but I can get the same body and flying for 1 mana less. So I feel like Bugler's just like kind of difficult to justify in that way. But I also thought about going up to 21 lands because I was playing so many 3-drops here, but decided not to, and that worked out pretty well. We still got flooded a couple times. So do I love Bugler? Not necessarily. If I'm going to play Leonardo, is Bugler the way to go? Potentially. This was 1 league, very small sample size, but obviously pretty good showing. Unfortunately, we never got to Palace Sentinels a single time. We did side it out a few matches, but I was hoping that with the Bugler being able to sometimes grab it as a 1-of, it could be kind of cool. Swap out some Buglers and Sentinels for pledges. Yeah, so definitely... It's not called pledges. Yeah, so I think this list definitely needs 2 Guardians Pledge. I think I'd probably drop the Sentinels. It's just not really necessary. I thought it'd be kind of interesting. You could test it more, but I think Guardians Pledge is probably better. And I'm usually a fan of more like 3 strands, so I might actually drop a strands here. Like, I'd be okay dropping a Bugler, but I also feel like if you're running Buglers, you can run a lot, and it can be really, really good, because stringing them together is great in the long games. Do you have something in mind for Utrom? The Utrom Monitor, I'm definitely going to try it out in Esper Affinity. That is if I can get one for cheaper than 24 tickets, which is what it was a couple hours ago. So yeah, I'm going to try it in Esper Affinity. I'm sure there's a lot of Zorius or Dimir Affinity you could play it in too, which would be pretty sweet. But Esper is obviously the home that I'm going to try it in, so we'll see. Unicorn might be a 1/1 flyer now that there's Leo. Maybe Fairy Guide Mother or City Pigeon. I could see the merit for having more flyers. I don't think either the ones you suggested I really love. They're just not quite enough value. And I think Unicorn is just incredible, personally. It didn't shine in this league. We got it like once or twice and it died. I never used it. But I think it's really, really good. So I could definitely see, if you're going Leo, trying to find another flyer. You could go Squadron Hawk, of course. I wouldn't mind having like a 1-drop flyer, but trying to figure out what that is. We unfortunately don't really have like a Fairy Seer or something that's like quite that level of really good for 1 mana. If Bugler got you 2 creatures to hand, I would play it. Yeah, I mean, if Bugler, if Bugler had wheels, it'd be a bicycle. So like, I would love, if it grabbed 2. I just hate looking at the bottom 4 cards of my library. I've done that enough with Augur of Bolas. But yeah, I'm not sold necessarily on Bugler, but obviously this one it went well. Would you consider a Bugler Choco split? So I personally really like Choco, and that's why I run it in my list. But it is a non-bow with the Bugler. We have 27 creatures. Well, we had 28 a second ago, but I think I'm going to go to this. So 27 creatures for Bugler to hit. A little less than 50%. You're looking at 4 cards. Theoretically, you should be hitting about 2 every time. But we still whiffed with Bugler at least 2 times today. We also hit with it, I would say, 4 to 6 times, so a good amount. But the problem is Choco just doesn't work with the Bugler. I'm not saying you can't have a single creature in the deck that can't be grabbed by the Bugler, but it feels like it's just a bit of a non-bow. But I do really like Choco, so I probably will try them, but we'll have to see. Why not 3 Militia, 3 Leonardo? Leonardo's legendary, so you never want to have a second one unless it's died. We do have a little bit of ways to get around that with like Rafine's Informant can ditch one, but and maybe Leonardo becomes so good that we want 3 because you always want to have one in the game. But I kind of think the Bugler, Leonardo's not always what we want either. Like, we had several times where I just wanted a Skyfisher or a Novice Inspector or a Thraben Inspector, and that's what Bugler could be, is grabbing one of those. So I could maybe see going up to 3 Leonardos, and in which case maybe go down just for the curve to 3 Buglers, but I don't know. I think 2 is kind of probably where I'm going to want it to be at, honestly. There's a 1/2 flyer with First Strike. For 1, yeah, there definitely is. I think the problem is that, like, a lot of people, I say this in my guide, but a lot of people talk about White Weenie as like an aggro deck, and it kind of is. It can have aggro draws, but it's also very much a mid-range deck, and Bugler, more than anything, puts it into mid-range because it's just like tons of value but really slow. But the problem is we want pretty much every single card in our deck to fit that value. So like a 1/2 flyer, we probably want something with an ETB that when we pick it up with Skyfisher on turn 2, which is a big thing, or Leonardo, we can get an extra ability. The Guide Mother does kind of, it doesn't have an ETB, but it has the extra adventure which you can use. Honestly, actually, I wasn't thinking about this. I'm pretty sure Guide Mother gives flying, like +2/+1 in flying. That can give flying to Leonardo directly, so that actually could be worth trying. That is kind of interesting. Leo is weird since there are so many spots where Choco is just better, but Leo can both push damage and generate value. Yeah, like in general, and I was saying this during the league, but like I think Choco, people are going to immediately be like, Leonardo's the best 3-drop, you should be playing it. But Choco gives you +1 damage for every creature 4 turns in a row. We have nothing else that does that much power. Like Guardian's Pledge is great, and in this version I might run Guardian's Pledge, but it's only 2 damage additional per power. Like Choco is a lot of turns to invest into it, but it's so much damage. Whereas Leonardo is a one-shot wonder if you can't pick it back up with like a Skyfisher or something. There's a 2/1 flyer for 1 that can't attack unless you control a soldier. Yeah, we don't really have enough soldiers, especially with Novice Inspector being a detective, for that to be good enough, I don't think. Otherwise, people would already be playing it probably. So, yeah, the Fairy Godmother could be interesting enough. Yeah, it's +2/+1 in flying until end of turn as a sorcery. It's also a 1/1 flyer. Honestly, actually, I'm rethinking a little bit. It might be worth trying out because of the simple fact that it can give Leonardo flying. So, like, it's another way to jump him, which could be kind of interesting. I still love my Unicorn, but, like, I could definitely see some other 1-drops having some merit and being a little bit better, especially to get that extra value with Leo. Yeah, I think just pretty simply, I might change the sideboard a little bit, but pretty simply, this is probably what I would change for my next league, which is down a Palace Sentinels, down 1 Prismatic Strands, up 2 Guardian's Pledge. If people like 4 Prismatic, maybe you want to drop a Bugler instead. I personally find that I like 3 Strands. Like, obviously, there are matches where it's incredible and you need it, and there are some where you don't care for it. I just find that if I'm in a match where I don't really want it and then I draw 2, I lose that game a lot, And so I really don't want to be drawing 2 in game 1, and then obviously in game 2 or 3, you depends on how many if you've sided them out or whatever. Oh, I did not say before, but Ben, I appreciate the bits as well for the congratulations. Thank you so much for that. Well, that was fun. That was great. Like I said, I do have some more brews or meta decks with a couple new cards that I'm going to try out. It is 5 o'clock where I'm at, so I'm not going to be able to play another League on stream here, but there will be more videos on the channel every weekday. This video is probably going to go up pretty promptly tomorrow, especially since we got the trophy. I really got to, capitalize on that clout. But I have another one planned with a new card on Friday and probably Monday. So make sure to watch out for that. And yeah, to be honest, last week I tried a list that is almost the same as this, except as +4 Choco, -4 Bugler, +2 Salt Beast, -1 Strand, -1 Monarch, with 2 Leo. It did very well in paper playtesting. Yeah, that seems good too. I don't think you necessarily have to play Bugler, and as a hater of Bugler, I say go for it. I do just think that the more utility you have, and if we're like, Leonardo is a piece that is very good sometimes and not good other times. Bugler is great at saying, okay, well, I get to choose when that time is. Like, oh, I can see him, and then do I want him now? Yes or no? I can take something else. So I think these synergize very nicely. Not to mention if you pick up a Bugler with the Leo, it's good value. But yeah. I was curious about go wide builds with clowning around. Not an MTG, so you would need to play a Sound the Alarm or something similar. Yeah, definitely. You could definitely do something like that. We played against a Jess guy, like go wide kind of a deck. Not with clowning around, obviously, but there's ways you could do it for sure. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I will see you all next time.